People would be like, "What?"
And every Mo, every Eskimo.
Oh my god, with their warm weather clothes. I mean, cold weather clothes.
You know who's the one group you could actively be prejudiced against and you would never get in trouble? Like the Amish or the
Yeah. Well, they'd
Mennonites.
never find out, right?
They never find out. It's
Yeah.
perfect.
Those with their no electricity and their beards.
Actually where I live, because I live in cottage country, we have like a lot of Mennonites around here.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I only
But
know that word in the context of Weird Al.
oh yeah, I guess so. Yeah,
We're all crazy Mennonites. I'm like, I remember as a kid being like, "Mom, what is a Mennonite?" And she's like, "It's just another word for the Amish, honey." Just
Living in an Amish paradise.
yeah, that song is arguably better than Gangster's Paradise.
Yes, it is. Churned butter once or twice, but
Yeah.
don't tell Coolio that, because Coolio was genuinely angry at him
Oh
about.
well, he didn't. You know, he's like, yeah. You know what's funny? I believe with my heart of hearts that Coolio did give permission, and then he saw how well the song was doing, and he like wanted to retcon his involvement because he was like, "Damn it! This not only is this song better than the movie Dangerous Minds, which is like hard to imagine, but it's also, you know, better than my song, which I think is really deep and important."
Yeah, I mean, God forbid people don't take Coolio 100% serious. Am I right?
I remember watching like kids react, and they were talking about, and they had, I think, yeah, and it was '90s songs, and one of them was Gangsta's Paradise, and people were like, "What is this?" And they're like, "It's by Coolio," and they're like, "Who the hell is Coolio?" And I'm like, Coolio, you know, he's like Puff Daddy. Oh my god, he's not, because Puff Daddy's successful, and
Yeah.
Coolio's in Daredevil.
That's right.
The movie, not the
in
show.
the excised
Yeah,
subplot.
in the deleted scenes. I should preface that he's not even in Daredevil. He's in the like the much, you know, celebrated director's cut.
The arguably better, but still.
But still, it's Ben Affleck as Daredevil, in like a biker Daredevil costume.
You also reminded me too. I'm like, oh, where have I read about Coolio this week? There's a Cracked article you can check out right now. 6 celebrities who got really depressing since you last saw them, and number 6 is Coolio for promoting Pornhub and losing his dreads.
Ugh. Does Pornhub really need promotion? Much less from Coolio.
I know, right? Well, he's got the shirt, he's got the hat, he's got the whole thing.
Wow.
You know, hey,
he's wearing the merch.
He's wearing the merch. I mean, hey, you know what, man? I'm shameless and I'm looking for sponsors.
I don't know if I'd take that sponsor.
Really, you don't think so?
I don't know. I mean, like, I can't imagine. I mean, like, I can't imagine being like, yeah, I'm that rock bottom at this point.
I'm that sleaze. I don't even care.
Yeah, like, because it's not like ComicPOP. You know, ComicPOP is many things, but it isn't porn.
Not yet, anyway.
It's not the porn. I guess that would be it. It would be, you know, they'd be like, it's the porn of comics. Just shameless whores that hate themselves, prostituting themselves for your enjoyment.
Well, hey, you know, you're not doing Lost Girls, not yet, anyway.
No. I do see other YouTubers like getting like promotional packages from like shows. Like I saw Trisha Hirschberger got sent a buttload of stuff from that show from is it HBO? It's the show about the group, about the town in Texas, Hope, Texas, or whatever that is, where like people don't, where it's the rapture happened, but this one town didn't lose anybody.
Interesting.
And they were like, yeah, and we'll send you, and they sent her pies and stuff, and she's like, thanks. And I'm like, where do I get on the pie list? Like, why?
For real, is there a special list? Is there a bouncer with a pie list? You get them, you don't.
Yeah. I don't know. I would love that.
Speaking of great sponsors, the good people at Geek Fuel, I saw your video and I was sure to write them a little thing and say, hey, you know what?
Yeah. We have that one just came out today, and it was for September's box, but they just sent us.
Actually, if it makes you feel good, I think I'm pretty sure I wrote them before and they didn't write me back, but I mentioned my good friends at ComicPOP.
Oh. Yeah. They sent us October, so we'll see what happens.
I really wanted to get the comic bento for this month because Gail Simone was guest curating it, and I can only imagine that she stuffed it with a bunch of her own books, and I'm a big fan, so I'd like those.
That'll be awesome. Yeah, I would like that. I tried to hook up with Comic Bento. I have not gotten anything from them.
If they gave me a thing, they'll give you a thing, I think.
I would. That's good. Like I was like, yeah, right. Wow, 3 thumbs down already. Fuck you. Fuck you.
Fuck
What
you,
a jackass.
3.
You know, it's just one fucking one fucking guy who's like, oh my god, ComicPOP is doing another thing. Time to give him a thumbs down, then log out, then log into my other email, then give him another thumbs down, then log out, then log into my mom's email, and then give them one more thumbs down. Eat it.
Because it's my right.
It's my right. It's my responsibility to let these guys know they suck. You suck. I hate you.
I'm reminded so much. Did you ever see The Purge 2? Did you ever see Purge 2 Anarchy?
I don't think I've ever heard. I don't think any human being has ever said that.
Have you seen? I know.
Have you
right?
seen The Purge 2? No, I've never seen The Purge. I didn't see the first Purge. The only thing, the closest thing to The Purge I've seen is the Purge episode of Rick and Morty.
Here's the thing: you don't have to see The Purge 1. The Purge 1 kind of sucks. The Purge 2 is everything that concept should have been, and it's also the point where they completely drop like all subtext to being a horror movie and being like, no, we are a political satire, we are a social satire, and there's a bit where this D-bag comes out with like a fancy shotgun. He's like, oh, I saved my pennies all year for the Purge so I can rape and murder as much as I want. You know why? Because it's my right. As he just like moves his gun up and down, it's my right.
Oh my god.
And
Subtlety.
I'm like, oh my, it is subtle as a jackhammer, but it's amazing. And there's a bit where like all these rich 1%er D-bags are like, well, you know, we'd really like to kill people on the Purge, but that's a lot of work. So we'll just pay some of these poor people to go kidnap other poor people for us to kill in private.
Oh my god, what?
Yeah.
I mean, like,
in that way, we're further turning the poor against one another.
Yeah. Listen, I love the concept of the Purge. And I would love it if that guy who bought the fucking shotgun gets, like, beamed by, like, just a $2 hammer.
Something like that actually does.
Okay, good, because that sounds amazing. I also love, just for me, just that Rick and Morty moment where they run into the old guy, and he's like...
Reads a shitty screenplay.
Oh, no, I mean the guy who's like, oh, I do some pretty bad stuff. I bet you do, old-timer.
Oh, I'm a good guy, but it's not the festival.
Yeah, for now. Oh, here he is. Here I am.
That's great. Oh, Rick and Morty's so good.
We gotta do just a Rick and Morty episode, and I'll just spam Justin Roiland's email and be like, please come on the show.
We like you this much.
You were on The Attack. You would totally do better on this channel. All right, so I think we've vamped enough for us to just get into it.
We've pre-showed enough.
Exactly. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Elseworlds Exchange. I'm Sal, and this is Joel, and we're going to talk about DC Comics animation today. Thought that'd be kind of fun, just chatting it up about, you know, cartoons, particularly some of the best comic book cartoons
ever.
Like, Marvel, say what you will about, like, Marvel's attempts at, like, animation and the fact that they're owned by the largest animating company in the universe, but even their nice new Guardians of the Galaxy cartoon doesn't hold a candle to what is probably to the worst DC animated movie. Now that said, I hopefully will get a chance to actually try and identify what that movie was, because I don't know yet what it is, but once we get over the list, I think I know what it is. I think I know what my personal one is, but only the ones I've seen. But yeah, we're going to talk about DC animation and just how great it has kind of always been. The dips and dives and the heights and the lows of DC animation.
All the way back from the heady days of September 5th, 1992 on Fox. People forget that the DC animated universe with Batman the Animated Series was kind of birthed on Fox, weirdly enough.
Yeah. Well, I think that was... We're talking about Batman Mask of the Phantasm, correct?
No, I'm talking about like Batman the Animated Series.
Oh yeah, the animated series is absolutely like a test pilot for DC animated movies. The Batman Animated Series... I think it premiered in 92. It was an amazing cartoon. If you haven't watched it, you can watch it on Amazon. But you owe it to yourself, just buy the first 2 or 3 seasons. It's amazing.
Netflix has some, but it's not complete.
No, and don't buy those and they've been doing this since VHS, where they have where an animated series will get like 2 or 3 episodes on one disc or tape.
Such a scam.
What a scam! Just get the series. Like I remember Spectacular Spider-Man was like you could piece the whole first season together if you got like each 3 episode disc. Like what a crock.
That was such a crime, and they wonder why that show died on the vine the way it did.
Oh, it died. Oh, well, as I understand it, it didn't die on the vine. I think it was murdered on the vine because Sony was like, no. Like when Disney got the Spider-Man rights back, they were like, bye.
Yeah,
Sony,
that was definitely a casualty of that whole, merger corporate BS. But we're not here to talk about Marvel. We're here to talk about DC. We can do that in
the future. But like DC started off with Batman the Animated Series, which spawned into Batman Mask of the Phantasm, which I hate to start it with this because it's my favorite.
Is it really?
Easily my favorite DC animated movie of all time.
It's pretty damn great. It's funny. It's basically Batman Begins before Batman Begins was even a thing.
Yeah, it borrows elements from the Batman mythos, but perfectly integrates it into the Batman the Animated Series continuity, which had kind of developed and snowballed into its own kind of thing.
Which had never had like an origin episode was the thing. Like one of the coolest things about Batman the Animated Series is they start you right into On Leather Wings, and it's just boom, Batman's been Batman for a bit, time to follow along. You can come in episode 5, you can come in episode 50, and it's all the same.
Batman has been Batman so long, his Robin is college age.
It's true.
Which was another like thank you moment for me as a kid watching Batman the Animated Series, where I'm like, Robin is a little older than the Tim Drake Robin I'm enjoying right now in comics, and I was like, wow, that's the Robin I like. I'd never wanted a little kid Robin to identify with. I always wanted to be a grown-up who was kicking it with Batman. But yeah, Batman the Mask of the Phantasm, as I understand it, was directed by Randomsky. And it was, Paul Dini, Bruce Timm. I think in like the more reserved time in their lives, like in the beginning where they're like, well, we shouldn't just push for everything. There's a lot of restraint in that movie, despite a lot of the wheels coming off, because it's like it was really dark, very adult.
Oh yeah.
And I remember the studio. The original plan was just to make it a direct to VHS release. The plan was just to release it, make the VHS money. And like halfway through production, the Warner Brothers is like, we could put this out, like in theaters. And
certainly has a movie quality score, that's for certain.
Oh my gosh, Shirley Walker has no equal.
She really doesn't.
And it's funny because you think that original theme, the original Batman the Animated Series theme, was by her because you hear her name associated with the Batman Animated Series for so long. But no, in fact, that's Danny Elfman's theme from the friggin' movie. That's just a mix. That's just a Shirley Walker altered version of the Danny Elfman theme from the original 1989 movie. And Shirley Walker finally got a chance to like stretch her wings, as it were, with Batman the Mask of the Phantasm. That's the first time you hear that theme, that Batman theme that you identify with for Batman. Yeah, that's the Danny Elfman theme. I'm thinking of the one where it's like,
oh,
that's the theme.
I love too. We can just hum it and exactly.
Oh, yeah. That's amazing. It also, of course, cemented the legacy that still is today. Mark Hamill is the Joker.
Oh, yeah, I mean, just killer. Just like so perfect. And so, it's scary to think of the road not traveled, that, if maybe he didn't get hurt in that motorcycle accident and if his film career had gone another way, we never would have gotten the greatest Joker of all time, as far as I'm concerned.
We would have had a pretty solid Joker. Tim Curry was the original voice of the Joker, and then they pulled him.
Supposedly.
I think I've heard the audio commentary. They say that they did have him.
And yet, we've never heard any released thing of what he would have sounded like.
I know, but you could probably guess it's basically Pennywise the Dancing Clown from the Stephen King series, It.
And don't get me wrong, I'm a huge Tim Curry fan.
I love Tim Curry too, but
in the 90s, he was every villain.
Yeah, he was Captain Hook in Fox's Peter Pan and the Pirates. There's no question he would have been a good Joker. I theorize, there's an episode, I can't remember what the hell it's called, but it's the one where Bruce loses his memory and he's locked in, and he goes in the hot box.
Oh, yeah. That's the one with the fat Southern sheriff
with
and
the
everything.
Fat, like, plantation owner guy.
I remember they used to play that episode all the time on Fox Kids.
Yes.
And I used to hate it because it's like, oh, there's no supervillains in this one. It's just some fat boss hog guy who's fighting Batman. And now when I get older, I appreciate it that much more now that I'm older.
As a kid, I remember always being disappointed that it wasn't Joker and that it wasn't a supervillain, but I watched the hell out of them anyway and committed them to memory. And as I got older, I was like, I remember thinking like, what a ballsy move. Like we're
It's
just
true.
no. Sometimes it's gonna be a guy. Sometimes evil doesn't have a scary face. Sometimes evil's just a fat guy. Like
And the dude was pretty evil. He was running a freaking Dust Bowl slave camp.
yeah, and you're all roast, and he's eating turkey legs like he's at a Renaissance fair all the time.
So good. And Alfred kicks ass in that
Alfred
episode
drives
too.
the bat plane in that episode. Too much 3PO-esque hilarity.
Very much so.
But in that episode, the thing that makes Bruce Wayne remember who he is the Joker.
Yeah.
He's having a vision during heat exhaustion, and he sees his reflection in a mirror, and the mirror is laughing at him. And then the reflection becomes the Joker, and then pulls Bruce through the mirror, and they both fall into an abyss together. But it's before they cast Mark Hamill as the Joker, and and his laugh sounds a lot like Tim Curry.
See, now I'm gonna have to go back and rewatch that episode tonight. Now you've made it so.
I don't know if it's necessarily Tim Curry, but it might be Mark Hamill approximating Tim Curry.
Well, because the funny thing about Hamill is Hamill was in the show as Ferris Boyle in the Mr. Freeze episode in Heart of Ice.
He plays so many characters in the beginning of the show because he was begging them to get him in the show. He's like, I want to play a villain. I just want to play a bad guy. Who am I going to be? And they're like, fine, man, you can be the jerk in in the Mr. Freeze episode.
You can be the corporate jerk.
Yeah. So yeah, Mask of the Phantasm. I was saying restraint because Harley Quinn isn't in that, and you know that Bruce, that Paul Dini at least, was fighting tooth and nail to get her in there.
Oh, of course he was, because she's his waifu.
Yeah, exactly. He fucking loves that character so much, and I've never seen anyone have a creepier, more desperate attraction to his own creation than Paul Dini for Harley Quinn.
Well, I mean, if we're going to talk about, Paul Dini also loves Zatanna a whole lot, so much to the point that he married a real female magician in real life.
I did not know that.
Oh, you didn't know that? Oh, yeah, her name is Misty. She's or Misty the Amazing or something. She's an actual female magician. The dude lived the nerd dream of actually marrying a real-life Zatanna.
That's pretty cool. All right, I'll give it to him. By the way, speaking of Batman, the animated version, have you seen the commercial for the Batman animated series action figures that stars Bruce or Paul Dini and Kevin Smith?
No.
It's basically a parody of the kids' commercials where they're like, "Oh no, Mr. Freeze is coming. I'll use my Batarang." But it's and it's just it goes from a hilarious recreation to a parody to pulling back further until you get to the studio at Warner Brothers Animation. It's Kevin Smith and Paul Dini, and they're like, "Okay, now let's make him kiss." Like, it's
How
amazing.
have I never seen this?
You gotta see it because these figures are top friggin' notch. I don't know if you ever bought action figures as a kid, but maybe that's another episode.
Yes, I think action figures should be a whole other episode.
I think so too, because damn. But yeah, Mask of the Phantasm, amazing movie. It started the whole thing off, and I never expected it to become DC animation. I just was like, oh, cool. Like, it's the show gets a movie. Not like we're making movies. After that, they kept it going with Batman Sub-Zero.
That's right.
Which is more, not a sequel. It's just a continuation of the show.
And again, too, it's like, here's the thing. As far as, like, the movies connected to Batman, the animated series, I'll probably be a little controversial here when I say, Mask of the Phantasm, awesome, classic. People love it for a reason. All the other ones, like, I will happily watch Heart of Ice over Sub-Zero. I'm not going to lie.
No, Tiffany loves Sub-Zero, and I think I know why, and it's just because she loves Mr. Freeze, and she loves the Heart of Ice episode. She loves the creation of Mr. Freeze from the show. The show, by the way, created the whole Mr. Freeze, Nora, tragic
whatever
angle. It's why it won a Daytime Emmy Award.
As it deserved.
Yeah.
And it's still one of the greatest 22 minutes of, like, animated television. Like, that bit at the end there where he's looking at the snow globe and the music hits just right. And where a warm hand reaches for yours.
It's an unbelievable episode done by an animation team that will never exist again.
I know.
And when it's them, it's magic. Like, when it's that team, they did that one. They did The second part of the Clayface episode, I think they did on Leather Wings, but they pull out all the stops to the point where they bankrupted themselves.
Yeah, yeah.
Which is like, why didn't when you were at the opportunity to make a movie, they went with the animation team that would eventually go on to do The Adventures of Batman and Robin, which is basically just season 3 of Batman the Animated Series. But
to me, it's all Batman the Animated Series. I know some people have got up my ass before. It's like, well, actually, Joel, that was the New Adventures of Batman and Robin,
same
or that
friggin'
was
show. It's just there's more Robin.
In many cases, the same opening credits. I know on the DVD box set that I got, sometimes they swap out the opening credits. Sometimes they don't.
Yeah, it's funny. I have a soft spot for the original opening, and the cold open is amazing and spectacular, and
with the title cards.
But there's no. I like the music in the New Adventures of Batman and Robin, and I even like the music in Batman Superman World's Final, like the Batman Superman half-hour new opening credits they did,
which aren't really on the DVDs actually.
Oh no, which is fine. Pardon me, but moving on, I guess, because we didn't really like it. It was, it doesn't have nearly as much punch emotionally that either Mask of the Phantasm or Heart of Ice does have.
Yeah,
but it does give you the trend of like, oh, like, okay, they're making more of these. Then of course they did Batman Beyond: Return of the Joker,
which I love. I think that one's a beautiful finale for Batman Beyond. Like, that's the last word they ever needed to write. And as far as I'm concerned, it was the last word they wrote until they did Epilogue and until they did Batman Beyond 2.0, which are also honestly pretty good.
They are pretty great. And you know what? I consider Batman Beyond: Return of the Joker to be the end of the Batman animated series and the end of the Batman Beyond series. But those Justice League episodes are pretty fucking spectacular.
It really is like the ultimate torch passing moment is what it is. And when they basically recreate the final shot of Batman Beyond being the first shot of Batman the Animated Series.
That was amazing. I'm like, they did it again. And they even got, because Kevin Conroy plays the voice of the pilot in the opening of On Leather Wings. And he plays him again.
Yes, he does.
Batman Beyond. Friggin' amazing. Then things take a turn. It's almost like Star Trek, where like every other one is pretty, or every odd one is crappy. But like Batman Mystery of the Batwoman, I remember hearing about this and being so
forgettable,
excited about it, and I bought it. Like, I didn't even rent. I was just like, I gotta own it. Bought it, threw it on. They recast Penguin.
Yeah.
They recast Bane.
Yes, they did.
And they cast Kelly Ripa as Batwoman.
Odd.
And it's garbage. The story is so terrible.
It's not great. It's the one and only interesting thing about that, and this is only if you're a hardcore continuity junkie like me who pays attention to this.
Yeah.
So in Batman Beyond, we find out that things, didn't work out between Barbara and Dick and Barbara, and you're like, well, why is that? And then you clearly find out in this that they don't try and hide it from you at all, that Bruce and Barbara are clearly dating.
Definitely.
They are clearly dating. He is clearly dodging her calls. And you're like, oh, that's so icky and disgusting.
Yeah, that really bothered me.
You're damn right it is. And it's supposed to bother you. And that's why years later, a great writer like Kyle Higgins can come along with Batman Beyond 2.0 and be like, look, I'm going to tell you this story now.
Yeah, and it's really dark.
It is.
If you ever wanted a sequel to Batman Beyond, be careful what you wish for, because it's there and it's dark.
When I interviewed Kyle Higgins for my show when he was writing 2.0, I asked him, it's like, are you going to do something with that?
Yeah.
And he literally was shocked. He's like, who told you? Who leaked my script thing? Who told you I was going to do that? And he's like, because I would have done it. That's why.
That's cool.
And then we were bros forever because we both had the same messed up idea of like, no, this story needs to be told.
Yeah.
Of like Bruce being a real dick and like going over Dick Grayson's head and being like, yeah, I'm dating Barbara now.
Yeah. Ugh. I don't like that character decision, but it's so unessential to the mythos, and especially in the animated form. I'm fine.
But it's like think about it though. I mean, Bruce lost, his parents at a young age. He's always trying to recapture that youth and whatever. And Barbara had a strong father who was often absent. I think if we're gonna play Arkham armchair psychologist for a second, it makes perfect sense.
Yeah, it's ugh. Yeah, it bothers me because it's like it's Gordon's daughter. You work with Gordon. You like no. It's that's a bro code you don't break. I don't.
And that's the thing. Batman's not perfect. He's not infallible. He can be
Right.
a real jerk, and that way you're more strengthened
The
to like what
Robins.
Dick is saying. Yeah.
Yeah. Then they did the show The Batman, which I
Uh,
was 100% against when they started, but after it was canceled, I went back and checked out some of the episodes, and I was like, that was okay, especially when they started to widen the world and bring in the Justice League. I kind of dug it. I don't like it more than anything else, but they made this show, and it
I kind of
exists.
stuck my foot in the ground and was like, no, no, not having any of this.
Yeah. But they made Batman versus Dracula, which I was like, I assume this is like a two-parter, but no, it was a movie, 83 minutes long.
Never saw it. Heard of it. Never saw it.
Same here, but they did some interesting things. They changed the characters a lot. They continued the legacy of Harley Quinn. They made the Joker into like a Rastafarian guy, I
Yes,
guess.
voiced by Kevin Michael Richardson.
Yeah, what a weird choice, but interesting. Like, it's cool. It's funny. Like, people say that I'm always set in my ways, and I'm like, no, I don't like change. But like, look, it doesn't take away what Mark Hamill did as the Joker. It's just a totally different interpretation for a totally different show, which is, I think, pretty cool.
The funny thing about that, I remember Kevin Michael Richardson did an interview about how he came around to that Joker voice in that show, and he said, like, I was almost in a car accident on my way to the
Oh,
studio.
shit.
I'd gotten some bad news. I was just genuinely really pissed when I got in the VO booth, and they're like, we love it. He's like, I didn't think I was going to get the role. I didn't think I was right for it. So I just yelled and screamed into the mic, and then they gave me the role.
Wow, that's really cool. Then they did this movie that was so bizarre. Like, I didn't watch it. Called Superman Brainiac Attacks.
I watched it once when I was young. I've never watched it since.
I heard negative things about it immediately, and they changed Lex Luthor's voice.
Not Clancy Brown,
Not Clancy Brown.
which already you're in trouble.
But they did get Powers Booth, which is awesome, but we would prove later that it would be more awesome for him to play a villain in the Justice League cartoon.
Yes.
But Superman Brainiac Attacks, utterly forgettable, but now you're like, oh, and this for me is when they started to say, like, we're starting to try to make, we're deliberately doing this now. It's not just spinning them out of shows. Like, it was Tim Daly as Superman, so it was clearly from the Superman animated series, but this was their first, like, the Superman animated series is over. Here's a movie.
Tim Daly, the guy from Wings who spells his last name the same way I do, actually.
Have you looked up? Have you seen if, like, you guys are related anyway?
I have and we're not, unfortunately. Although I do have an uncle named Tim, ironically enough, but it's not the Tim Daly from the show.
Damn it.
It's this close to being related to Superman, but
Yeah.
no.
That'd be cool. Then Teen Titans Go, or Teen Titans, launched.
Yeah.
Which was a really interesting show that had a lot of promise and made a lot of great decisions, I think.
I think for a lot of kids, that one hit just right for them, where it's like, hey, if you remember growing up on these superhero cartoons, and I bet you're really into anime right now because it's the late 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah.
This show is perfect for you because it blends them all together.
It does, and it was funny what an obviously Western interpretation of anime it was.
Yes.
But I loved the voice actors. I liked the direction for the Dick Grayson Robin character.
It was Glenn Murakami on that one, who had done all those other shows previously, who was working on this.
Yeah, and I was always disappointed that they never crossed them over with Justice League.
Well, they couldn't, even though they kind of tease you a little bit in an episode where I think it was a static Batman Beyond crossover.
Yeah.
Where he's like, hey, where's Robin? Oh, he's off with the Titans. And then you never got to see that.
That's so they're owned by the same damn company. What, like, if you can't cross them over, that's on you. Like, that no one else is stopping you. You're just choosing not to do it.
The thing about Teen Titans was that it often felt like two different shows.
Yes.
There was the anime wackiness episodes, like the comedy bits. I really love Malcolm McDowell as Mad Mod. That's like probably one of my favorite episodes. That's hilarious.
That is amazing.
That's a great one. And then there were, like, the Slade episodes. They couldn't call him Deathstroke because Death was too hardcore. It was too hardcore for TV.
Yeah.
But the Slade episodes where shit got real.
the Slade episodes were so dark, you might as well have called him Deathstroke.
It's true.
Yeah, but they made a show, but they made a movie which I think is just multiple shows strung together called Teen Titans: Trouble in Tokyo, which has Slade and it's Asian themed and blah.
Because Japan, guys.
Yeah. This would be one of the first or ever Teen Titans movies. I remember they were always planning on doing the Jericho contract, but they never, or the Judas contract.
Judas contract, which apparently is still in development for this day. We're gonna get to it.
Yeah,
one
sure.
of these days.
I look forward to it. But then and this is for me the official launch of the DC animated movie lineup, which was Superman Doomsday.
Yes,
and I remember thinking, what a great idea. And the reason why I thought that was because I'm like, way to take a complicated, ridiculous mess that was the Superman,
boil it down to its essentials.
Just a cool fight between Superman and Doomsday, and boy did they not do that. Like, they made it a fight, but they also made it this insane psychodrama to the point where I've never seen a version of Lex Luthor before or since that was in Superman Doomsday. If you've ever seen it, James Marsters or whatever from Buffy, I think, plays Lex Luthor in this bizarre love, hate, desperate version of Lex Luthor where
his opening monologue is beautiful, where he's like, look at how they worship him.
Yeah, like, I like that, but when he clones Superman just to beat on him,
why did you leave me?
What the? That was when I'm like, okay, show, or okay, movie, we're going off the rails. Also, Adam Baldwin, terrible Superman.
Yeah, well, we could say a lot about Adam Baldwin as a human being, but as a Superman,
he's a great Jane.
He's a good Jonah Hex in the Justice League episode.
He's a good Jonah Hex. And by the way, we should at some point, if we ever talk about Justice League, we should talk about the Firefly connection, because for some reason Andrea Romano can't help but get everyone from the crew of Serenity in that vote.
Every time.
Gina Torres, Adam Baldwin, Nathan Fillion, Summer Glau, Adam Baldwin. They never got Ron Glass, Shepherd Book. They never got Simon, Sean Maher, and
I'm sure if they kept going, they would have.
They got Alan Tudyk, I think, to play a couple of things, and I know I'm forgetting somebody. Oh, Kaylee, Jewel Estate probably was somebody. I think she was. I don't know. Also, Anne Heche played Lois Lane in this Superman Doomsday movie.
That's right, she did.
Not great. Not great. But Anne Heche is not great.
To take that, Anne Heche. You won't be watching this show anymore. I don't care
who I piss off from 12 or from 25 years ago, but Anne Heche is overrated.
Sal taking a hard stand on Anne Heche.
That's right. But that was the first time where DC, I think they actually officially said we're making direct-to-disc movies.
Yeah, this was... Wait, was this one? No, I'm thinking the Darwin Cook one was the next one.
Yes,
this was the first
one.
It
is. And then they made Justice League New Frontier.
But yeah, I really like Doomsday for all its problems that you said. I think it does a good job boiling down a complicated story. The scene that gets me is when Lois goes to see Ma Kent and she's standing there on the porch. Maybe I'm just a big old softy, but that one shreds me every time.
I like moments like that, but at that point the movie had already lost me, so I'm like, look, they're doing good they're making good decisions. Maybe they'll keep them and use them in movies that I want to watch. Also, I really liked the Doomsday version that they would use in Justice League more than what they did here.
Really? Because he's such a pared down version in that,
Doomsday's just a rage man. He's just the Hulk with bones coming out of his skin.
Yeah, I thought this one was a better design, honestly, because he had more protrusions and everything.
Yeah, that's true. I'd have to watch the fight again. I haven't seen that fight.
The fight holds up pretty good, because if you remember in the Justice Lords episode, which is what you're talking about, the fight's over in 2 seconds.
Well, no, he rematches Doomsday.
Oh, and they fight in the volcano. In the Doomsday Sanction.
Yes, that's right. Amazing episode. But yeah, so Superman Doomsday, first swing out of the gate, and I was like, there's a 5 out of 10.
But you have to remember at the point too that this one had come out, the DC animated universe had been like slumbering for a bit. So this was like the first piece of like new original animation we had gotten in a bit. So it was like, oh, dude, it's back. Remember all
Yes.
this good stuff from before?
But
It's, it's Bruce Timm and your favorites all back
but
again.
the funny thing was all the voice actors were totally different.
Yeah.
So it felt like you're never gonna go home again. Of
It
course,
felt like a friend from high school had come back, only he wasn't your friend from high school. He was another person wearing a mask of that guy's
yeah,
face.
yeah, and you're like, oh. Of course, how wrong would we be later on? But
Yeah.
Justice League New Frontier, I think it's the most perfect adaptation DC's done.
Really?
Yeah, I think that out of all of them, I mean, like, you can't really count Dark Knight Returns
It's two.
because Bruce Timm is nuts for Dark Knight Returns.
Yeah, he is.
Especially with it being the second one out of the gate, Justice League New Frontier made me question nothing. Like
And the fact that the dude who wrote the comic also wrote the movie too, so that
yes,
helps.
amazing writing.
Something that they would continue to do in later DC animated movies, which I think is a great idea.
Oh, I agree. Yeah, having Winnick write Red Hood, good idea.
Very good idea.
And it works. But New Frontier, the thing about it for me, and I'm all about the voices, as well as the animation. Like it's got to be the
Same
blend.
here.
It's like comics. Like you got to have good art and good writing.
Absolutely.
With an animated feature like Justice League New Frontier, the voice actors were all totally different, but all perfect.
They were good.
And so for me, and it didn't, like, the guy who played Batman, whose name escapes me, was like so good, but so not Kevin Conroy.
And he definitely captured like the Batman of that time.
Yeah, well, he could have been Batman either way. Like, he could be Batman in another animated feature, and I'd be okay with that. But the fact that he did such a good job, or the fact that everyone did a good job, and it's the only version we get of Lucy Lawless as Wonder Woman.
That's right. It's so many nerd dreams back in the day of like, in a perfect world, Lucy Lawless would have been Wonder Woman in a Wonder Woman movie.
Such a sin we didn't get it, but it would have been in like 96, and so it would have looked like the Phantom or the Shadow. And trust me, young viewers who don't know what the hell I'm talking about, YouTube the trailers.
So, here I have the voice cast up in front of me. David Boreanaz as Hal Jordan.
Solid choice.
Pretty damn good. Miguel Ferreira as John Jones. John Jones having a big part in
he plays a big role, which I thought was really cool. I'm like, good for you, man. Like, way to make him a central character.
Neil Patrick Harris as the Flash, who would return multiple times throughout the DC animated universe.
I remember that, and I remember that was really the only one where I'm like, well, that's just Neil Patrick Harris. Like, he's not playing anybody.
He'll be Nightwing again in Under the Red Hood, and basically just be, hey, it's me, NPH, as Nightwing.
I'll really botch the Oscars.
Kyle MacLachlan was Superman in this one.
Superman's in the movie for like 2 friggin' minutes.
He is. Jeremy Sisto was Batman.
Really? Was that? Oh, cool. Okay, good. Yeah. That's cool. He did a great job. That line where he's just like, I've got a rock that cost me like $8 million. Took me like years to synthesize for the one in Metropolis for you. I just need a penny for a book of matches.
What's great about that one too is how we see Batman's costume evolve from I'm the Knight, I am a scary, terrifying dude to I want to scare criminals, not little kids. Maybe I should make my costume less scary.
I really liked that too. And they were like, oh, okay, maybe there's a bright future for Batman. No, he's gonna die.
Robin, do your homework.
Yeah. That's great. Then they did that Batman Gotham Knight movie where it was a tie-in with the Batman Begins universe.
And Dark Knight kinda, sorta, but not really, because like Crispus Allen shows up in a story from Gotham Central, but it's not Renee Montoya, it's that cop from the movie.
Yeah.
We found out later was a dirty cop, even though this story doesn't really tell you that she is. In fact, it would kind of tell you the opposite.
Yeah, that was frustrating as all hell, because like, what a great opportunity to put Renee Montoya in a real movie. Never did it.
Yeah, it's like several shorts with like a bunch of different artists taking different jabs at Batman. So, you get like Iron Man Batman and like anime tokusatsu Batman.
Yeah. I also love that they cast Kevin Conroy because they were like, he says maybe 2 lines.
Yeah.
So, well, fine. But that for me, that was like hope that they'll keep him. That they'll keep using him. Like he's
You know
not too old.
what's great about that one is if you ever listen to the commentary for that one, it's Paul Dini, Bruce Timm, Neil Adams, or no,
Oh,
not Neil Adams, no, Denny
oh,
O'Neil,
that's awesome.
all together doing a commentary, and they're only kind of watching the movie. They're more or less just asking Denny O'Neil questions, and Denny O'Neil's talking to them.
That's awesome.
And Denny O'Neil's like, I like this bit here. And it's like, oh, really? Tell us more about it.
Yeah.
Well, when I wrote The Batman back in the day, I did it like this. The commentary on that one is amazing.
Yeah, I would love to listen to that. I've not done that. I don't own it.
That's a sad thing that stopped for the DC animated direct to DVD movies is they used to all have commentary.
Yeah.
And they used to be able to watch the whole movie. Then with Wonder Woman, they're like, okay, so we're watching an unfinished cut of the movie, and then eventually they just stopped doing commentary altogether.
They should release podcast versions of them now.
Hell yeah, they should.
I remember thinking I remember thinking back during it's funny being a huge Kevin Smith fan. The audio commentaries will provide a new experience for any
As
Kevin
good
Smith
commentary should.
That's right. Any shit. Who's a great audio commentary? Oh, Robert Rodriguez does a great commentary.
Oh yeah.
But
Nick Frost, Simon Pegg, and Edgar Wright when they do for like the Blood and Ice Cream trilogy. Those are amazing commentaries.
That'd be great. James Cameron does a nice job with the Terminator with the old movies. But anyway, Smith
Schwarzenegger when he's talking about Conan the Barbarian.
We should do another one.
Yeah, those are great too in their own right. Or
Yeah.
when he's doing Terminator, he's like, the boobies. This is a great movie.
God damn it.
Making it seem like he's watching his own movies for the first time.
Yeah. Oh my God. But you know what you should don't waste your time on is Mel Brooks commentaries. Because Mel Brooks didn't watch them since he made them. So with Spaceballs, he's just like, he's 2 seconds ahead of the scene. And he's like, oh, this is hilarious because we do the whole thing about beaming and the door's right there. I'm like, yeah, man, we know. The movie's 100 years old.
You know, it's another amazing one, Uwe Boll.
Real? Oh, God.
Oh, his commentaries. I swear to God, they are Andy Kaufman-esque works of art. So, like, on Postal, he, like, talks about all the film critics that he's fought and is going to intend to fight for not liking the movie, and how he fought with the game's creator because the game creator didn't want him making the movie.
Yeah.
Then he takes a phone call in the commentary. Then he gets up to leave to get some food and then comes back.
Fuck that guy.
I'm like, dude, if you turned around tomorrow and said, yeah, this has all been a bit, this has all been a work,
It's a performance piece in my career.
I'd be like, you are a genius,
Yes,
sir.
Bravo. Except no one would believe him. It's like when Tommy Wiseau was like, no, it's a dark comedy. Ha ha ha. No, you put your soul on screen and everyone said it was stupid.
And everyone's laughing at
Yeah, exactly.
you. And now Seth Rogen and James Franco are going to make a movie based on the book, based on the guy who was in the movie with you.
I would rather they didn't do that. I read The Disaster Artist and it's spectacular, but like
Me too. It's wonderful.
I would rather just see select scenes from The Room redone with amazing actors.
like Laurence Olivier
Well,
is
like Christopher Walken playing Johnny, and like Bradley Cooper playing Mark. You're just doing the football scene, like the Oh Hi Mark scene, like from Funny or Die or Machinima or something like that, where they just do scenes from The Room. It like when you go into like the middle of Central Park and like, oh, all of a sudden all these movie actors just playing Shakespeare because they just wanna. Like, I just want to see that.
You're tearing me apart, Lisa.
Lisa, come on.
I did not hit you. I did not.
Anyway, how's your sex life? It'd be amazing. So, the next movie up on our list is Wonder Woman, which I adore.
Me too. Like, if you twisted my arm and said, what's your favorite of the DC animated movies? It's got to be that one. And you know why it's that one? Because it's the best Wonder Woman movie ever made.
That's right.
and maybe the best one we'll ever get. Like, you see, I'm like, this is her origin. This is what makes her her. All done through movie length.
That's right.
This is as good as it's going to get.
And it has the scope that you want with a Wonder Woman movie. It has a great balance of actors and character. This would be a movie, and by the way, the voice acting they got, you could shoot it
Yes, you could. Alfred Molina as
as
Ares, the
Ares,
god of war.
Fillion as Trevor, and Kerry Russell playing Wonder Woman. I think she'd do a pretty spot on Wonder Woman anyway. So just shoot that damn movie. Like,
And who did they get to play her mom? Didn't they get?
oh, I don't know.
I want to say
But
they
she
got
was-
Linda. I want to say they got Linda Carter, but I could be wrong.
I don't know, but that would be phenomenal. She's spectacular. Like, because yeah, the voice was amazing. It's just such a great action movie.
It is. It's like a fantasy sword and sorcery thing.
It makes it. It's why like I hate like in Justice League Origin, like in the New 52 volume of Justice League, which would then be adapted in Justice League War. The scene where Wonder Woman's like, "Oh, I like this ice cream, herp a derp." Like,
Yeah.
oh, what the subtlety of a of a Mack truck. Here, watch this Wonder Woman movie where it's done tastefully and interesting. Like,
And the fact that they add like all this extra, like importance to her origin, and
yeah,
like the first half is all about her mom and how her mom fought for Amazon independence.
right.
And where it's like, Diana is this amazing wonder child because she was, sculpted from the very clay and given life by the, Greek gods themselves.
Yeah, no, it's a spectacular picture. Ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't watched Wonder Woman, buy it.
It's the best one. It's, as far as I'm concerned, like the other ones are really good and come close, but that's the best. Like,
Yep.
like there's been good live action Batman movies. There's been good
Yeah.
live action Superman movies. This is just the best Wonder Woman movie, period.
Easily. I'm skipping the Black Freighter because Watchmen is another show, but Green Lantern First Flight, again, I think it's another triumph. I think it's a solid Green Lantern movie. I think it's better than the movie we got with Ryan Reynolds.
Oh, well, that's undoubtedly, and it tells basically the same story,
It's
just
the
a
same damn
million times
movie!
better.
It's the same damn movie, but better, because it doesn't look like cheap and bullshit.
Dude, friggin' Christopher Maloney.
I never would have been my choice, but I think he did a fantastic job.
Friggin' Detective Stabler man
Yeah.
as Hal Jordan. I'm like, yeah, I'm into this.
Yeah, because he's a space cop. You gotta get the coolest cop that was working at the time. That's him.
And a dude who can be funny too. Like, that's the thing people don't know about Maloney. Maloney's hilarious.
He is.
He's in a lot of dark, serious shit, but he's funny.
Yeah. I also love that, for me, like, when they cast Michael Clark Duncan as Kilowog in the movie,
That's good.
obvious, though. For me, I'm like, oh, you made a big guy play the big guy. They cast Michael Madsen to play Kilowog in this movie, and it's great, because Michael Madsen...
Hey, Poozer.
He's a lunatic. Like, Michael Madsen is out of his mind, and you can hear it in his voice, and it's just he's a coiled spring that, like, doesn't give a fuck until you say the wrong thing. And I've never seen Michael Madsen lose his shit, but I don't want to.
And they got him to say Poozer. They got this, well-respected actor to say Poozer. You know what my favorite Michael Madsen performance is, and this is going to blow your mind?
Is it Free Willy?
No, in Chronicles of Narnia, he plays one of the wolves, and I'm like, man,
shit.
Michael Madsen should just be a wolf in every movie because it's just like a real wolf that they kind of motion captured, and they've almost gotten some Michael Madsen features on the wolf's face, so it's just a wolf talking with Michael Madsen's voice, and I'm like, this is good.
Yes.
This is really good, actually.
I am on board. But I thought it was cool. I was hopeful, and I think everyone was as well. That
It's a lot shorter and punchier than the other ones is the thing.
No, well, because I think at this point they're like I think they're also they're on the legs of Wonder Woman's unfortunate failure,
which is really, that's a killer that one didn't sell as good as the other ones because it's the best one.
It's spectacular, but to do Wonder Woman and then it fails, and then for them to do Green Lantern. For DC, I'm sure they were like, all right, Batman, just nothing but Batman. Like we gotta.
You can only do Batman now because only Batman makes money.
Yeah. Case in point, the next one up was Batman, Superman, Public Enemies, which I adored. Thought it was a lot of fun. Good. It's a straight up great adaptation of a Jeff Loeb comic from 2009. So yeah.
And they tried really hard to capture the art style too of that book and that movie,
which is weird. The voice
because
acting
it's a weird art style.
Yeah. The voice acting is fine. There are some that are bad. I think Toyman is awful.
The new version of Toyman, the hero Asian hero guy.
Yeah, because he sounds like a gay Hispanic guy, and I think he's played by one too.
Oh my.
So why did you hire him to play a small Asian guy?
Could you not hire a small Asian child for this role?
I can't imagine there being any like Asian people voice actors who would
W-
like to have a job. It
Was
doesn't
was Masioka busy?
right? That's like, but the core. You got Kevin Conroy, you got Tim Daly, you got Clancy Brown, and you had who played Amanda Waller.
Oh, CCH Pounder.
Thank you. Yeah,
Who she just owns that role so hard.
so perfect. She is she is such a perfect actress for Amanda Waller. I'm disappointed.
She
Every
is
time I see
Amanda
her.
Waller in
She's
real
Amanda
life.
Waller. Yeah,
It's a shame she never got to play her in real life.
frustrating as crap because it's like she would have asked for less than whoever's playing her now, and she does a great job. Like,
Here's the funny thing too, like when they hired CCH Pandrits because they were big fans of The Shield and all those cop shows. And also, she was on SVU too. She was one of the bad lawyers in that show.
no way.
She was actually, and it's funny. She didn't know anything about comics, and she didn't know anything of what she was reading. So she would just show up and read it, and if they hit a word that she couldn't say, they would work with her through it phonetically, and she would just say it.
That's
is the
awesome.
thing.
Okay, I will correct myself, by the way. Toyman was played by an Asian person, but it's bizarre. But I'll still hold to it was miscast and he's terrible. Anyway, but yeah, Amanda Waller is amazing. But you had the core, and there's hope that maybe they'll make more more direct comic adaptations. That was like the first inkling that, hey, I think they're gonna start making like The Thing I Read into a movie.
Yeah, because they'd gone back and forth where it's like, World's Fine or was it the Darwin Cook New Frontier? That's basically an adaptation.
Yes.
The other one's just like, well, we're doing Origins, but we're picking from all over the place. And
Yeah.
Doomsday was kind of an adaptation, but we had to trim a bunch. We had to trim a lot for time because a lot of the crap, like Reign of the Superman, we weren't getting that in the movie.
No, although I would love to see that now. It'd be so bizarre.
Would you a Superman with Bret Hart shades? Destroy.
Yeah. Cyborg Superman, Superboy. It'd be amazing.
Don't call me Superboy. I'm the Metropolis Kid.
Yeah, don't call me Superboy because we're in a litigation battle with the Schusters, and they might own Superboy, so don't call them. I'm fucking stupid. Justice League Crisis on Two Earths is a phenomenal reimagining of Justice League Earth 2.
I still like the Justice Lords episode better. Like it's fine enough for what it is, and it's cool to see the crime syndicate actually put on screen and everything. But I like the Justice Lords episode more. I'm not gonna lie.
The Justice Lords episode is more fun, or two-parter, because you get all the voice because you have moments like, it's funny, even the Batman moments are amazing in both movies for me, because you in the Justice League animated version, or the show, you got Kevin Conroy Bruce Wayne versus Kevin Conroy Bruce Wayne
talking to himself in a verbal duel,
which is amazing, and what a terrific switcheroo. Great episode. But with Crisis on Two Earths, the whole movie's leading up to Owlman versus Batman.
Yes, James Woods versus Alec Baldwin.
Which is like, it's Billy Baldwin.
Oh, of course. I can't keep all my Baldwins straight.
That is the grave misstep of Crisis on Two Earths, is that this is the beginning of the miscasting of Batman, where they were like, anyone could play Batman. Like
I believe you did a tangent on this at one point on your channel.
I just bitched and moaned about it. If you want to watch me complain endlessly about the voice of Batman in this movie, go find it. It's hilarious. But yeah.
And we both looked into the abyss. The only difference is you blinked.
You blinked, click. That's cool. That's the only line he does right. But wouldn't it have been stronger with this being a Justice League the Animated Series movie?
Well, actually, the interesting thing about that Crisis on Two Earths is the animation and the character models from that
was that
they would take and reuse those for Young Justice.
Oh, no way! Yeah, that's right, because they look identical.
There's a dude out there who does a bridge series, like a bridge stuff for all the DC animated stuff, and that was a godsend to him because he's like, ooh, so I can take events from this movie and events from the cartoon, and in my abridging make it seem like they're the same.
That's spectacular. It's a cool movie though. It's a solid premise. Gina Torres plays Superwoman. It's just
Deathstroke is the president.
Yeah, it's cool. It's fun. It's worth your time. Check it out.
I liked the opening with the jokester, the good version of the Joker who sacrifices himself.
Yeah. I'm sad that they didn't get everybody. Like Clancy Brown
Yeah.
as that Lex Luthor would have been pretty friggin' awesome to watch. I'm also really sad. I guess we can lament this. There's no Justice League or Justice League Unlimited movie.
No, there
The
isn't.
closest thing is later, but
Although honestly, they did so many multi-parters that were basically
Yeah.
movies in their own right.
there's a whole season where it's about the threat of the Justice League. That's basically one movie.
Where Bruce Timm even said, we were just writing multi-parters, we just didn't put to be continued at the end of it. Is all we did.
Yeah, which is fine, by the way, because that show is not for children. That show is for us.
That was serialized as all hell.
Yeah. Then they made Under the Red Hood, which was another direct adaptation. Written
Better than the comic it's based on. I'm going to say that right now.
Yes, easily. Not what. There's one change I would have made with that movie.
And
I would have cast David Warner as Ra's al Ghul. And I know you didn't get Kevin Conroy, and you know what? I will say this: Bruce Greenwood's Batman is a great runner-up.
And which is why he's so good. They brought him back for Young Justice,
and I'm so glad they did because it makes Young Justice palatable.
Now, sir.
I liked it. It was a fun show. I didn't watch. I actually never watched it because I was like, this show will be canceled in no time. I'm not getting invested in this again. But having having gone back and watched the first season, I was like, okay, it's a solid show. Everyone's doing a nice job. And you get Bruce Greenwood playing Batman again, and he does a great job. He does nice work.
So you never watched season 2, is what you were telling me.
I have not seen season 2, and I hear it's crazy.
So you never saw the amazing time skip that they did. They do almost like a 5 years later in the show.
That's cool.
That they do. So you get all the Robins, all the different sidekicks all together, all as different members of the team. And you never saw the majesty of Greg Weisman going in and fixing one of the greatest affronts to the Green Arrow franchise ever done, wherein he splits the difference between Red Arrow and Arsenal.
Oh, what a good idea.
Yeah, he does. And I talked to him about this. He's like, yeah, I'm a huge Green Arrow fan too. Yeah, the Roy Harper stuff pissed me off too, but guess what? Because I had a show, I got to fix it.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And it's genius. And yes, and then that show got canceled, and we were all super bummed.
Yeah, I know. And I was like, yeah, you look at all you people sad about a show I never watched. Thank God.
Thank God I didn't get hurt, man. I didn't get invested.
Yeah, exactly. Jensen Ackles does a nice job with Red Hood.
Yes, he does.
John DiMaggio does not quite nail that Joker.
You see, I thought he did some interesting stuff with it, going the other direction, where he's like, I'm the Joker who was clearly a thug and a leg breaker before I hit the acid. I'm not the regular dude. I'm closer to the Jack Napier from the movie.
He does a better Joker than Troy Baker, who's just
really?
pretending to be
Mark
Mark Hamill. Because all I hear is Booker DeWitt.
It's true.
In that Joker. But John DiMaggio, that movie helps me forget that my favorites aren't in this. So I'm like, and it's solid. It's a great plot, really tight. But you gotta get David Warner to play Joker, or to play Ra's al Ghul.
Under the Red Hood is so good, in fact, that I think it confused a whole generation of young comic readers into thinking Red Hood is actually a good character.
Oh, easily, because I hate Red Hood. And I hate what they did with him, and I hate the decisions they made with him, and everything they've done with him since is kind of stupid. Or at least, in my opinion, I find it really dumb.
In this movie, he's complicated, has pathos, has a great arc, and then at the end is finished, which is probably how the character should have been. But they're like, ooh, you like this character? Well, we're gonna bring him back. Well, as a villain, right? No, as an anti-hero.
Well, they brought him. I mean, they're like, we already brought him back. We've already undone the Jason Todd death. We might as well go for it. With that in mind, everyone always cites the end of the movie, which is close to the end of the comic, but people always cite it like that's like the movie is canon in the comics, and I'm like, it ain't, guys. But every time I'm like, I'm not really a fan of the Red Hood, man. They're like, yeah, but that scene in the show, I'm like, that movie does not make up for undoing the death of Jason Todd. It's cool, but is it as cool as Batman Superman Apocalypse? I cite no. Batman Superman Apocalypse is friggin' cool as hell. But there's another
It's also kind of a direct sequel to Wanted or Most Wanted.
Yes.
Which they never did up until this point.
Yeah. Once again, brought back the dream team of Kevin Conroy and Tim Daly. But And this would actually it was earlier in this where they would keep making these horrible casting mistakes where everything would be great but one, which started with Twice on Two Earths and continued in Batman Superman Apocalypse, which was Darkseid is not voiced by Michael Ironside.
That's a shame, especially because Michael Ironside is like DC royalty, from being Sam Lane on Smallville to being Louis Snart in the new Flash.
Yeah, he is Darkseid. He was Darkseid in the Superman animated series. He was Darkseid in Justice League. No one has ever made Darkseid cool.
It's true.
Me, but that character.
I am a great many things, Kal-El, but on Apocalypse, I am God. That I remember as a little kid watching that Saturday morning, and I'm like, my life will never be the same again after that line. That's the coolest thing ever spoken.
Yeah, I remember being a kid and being like, this is a little too intense for me. Like, just that performance of this stoic, certain... I never really understood the Darkseid character until Michael Ironside played it.
It's true. That's the moment that gets you.
Yeah. They did not cast him. They got Andre Braugher, who's like the Allstate guy.
Oh, that's right. He is too. Great. I'm going to think of Darkseid trying to sell me insurance.
Yeah, I don't think it's actually the Allstate guy. He's the general guy in Fantastic Four 2, I think.
Oh.
Yeah, he's so terrible.
And yet not as bad as the one from Justice League War, where he's literally just talking like this.
I've never seen Justice League War.
It's probably one of the worst. It's probably one of the worst ones they've made.
That's so frustrating because you have the. But anyway, Michael Ironside for life. Darkseid, grave mistake.
For life.
All-Star Superman, really, really solid adaptation. Surprised they did it.
Yes.
Because the Grant Morrison book, so it's like, okay.
It's as close as you could get in the time they allotted for that movie.
Not a huge fan of the attempt once again to adapt to approximate the style of the artist of the book.
Sometimes it doesn't work.
It doesn't work sometimes, like this one. This is a cool movie and it does a nice job and it sells the book. I think it does. I think it's a solid.
It's also one of those situations too where it's like, you know what? Like Dark Knight Returns, this one probably should have been 2 parts too.
Yeah, easy. But no one would have bought the part.
Because you miss out on the Bizarro World stuff and you miss out on like the time traveling Supermans, which were my favorite parts of the book. Actually,
the part where John Kent dies again is a gut punch and a half.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Also frustrating they never made an adaptation of Superman Birthright, which is, for me, one of the best Superman origin stories retelling. It's frustrating as all hell we didn't get that, but
don't worry, Sal. I'm sure you'll get a New 52 retelling of his story at some point.
Yeah, that's great. I love that. Yeah, New 52 forever.
That's definitely the way they're feeling right now.
This is also, by the way, All-Star Superman is the last Dwayne McDuffie.
Oh, that's a heartbreaker.
I know this because my buddy works at the Paley Center for Social Research in New York City, which is the TV museum, and DC likes to do some of their premieres at the Paley Center West and the Paley Center East.
Yes.
And Andrea Romano, Christina Hendricks played Lois Lane. I know this because my friend was was there with the event, and they had this cool poster of All-Star Superman, which is the one that you see, with Superman flying under the sun. And they got Christina Hendricks, Andrea Romano, and Dwayne McDuffie to sign it, and then my friend took it and gave it to me.
Oh.
So and then he died. So I feel like I have the last Dwayne McDuffie signature.
I am more jelly than man right now.
It's just hanging in my bedroom, and
as it should.
Yeah, and I'm just like, do I do anything with this? I don't know, but. I'll always have
Dwayne McDuffie, such a champion of the DC animated universe. Obviously Dini and
Tim are
get a bunch of credit as they should, but he was the third wheel on that one. He
was. Dwayne McDuffie would have pushed for quality control.
Yes, here's the thing too, everyone. The only reason you know Jon Stewart as well as you do as the Green Lantern from that show is because Duffy pushed for that.
And I think he's pretty much I think the animated series Green Lantern is my favorite Green Lantern.
Yeah, he's pretty good. He's Jon Stewart in the animated series is probably better than Jon Stewart in the comics.
Oh, no question. Oh, because he's actually developed and does stuff.
Yeah, we're unlike in this one where it's like, well, I guess we'll put him in here because people like him from the cartoon. But
Yeah.
I don't know.
Emerald Knights I never saw. Did you see Emerald Knights?
I did, and I like Emerald Knights more than the actual Green Lantern movie. And you know why?
Because Nathan Fillion plays Green Lantern.
Well, actually, no. Here's the thing: like he takes a back seat in this one, and it's all about the other Green
That's
Lanterns.
right. That's right.
And it's an anthology story. So you get one about Mogo, you get one about like the princess, who's also a Green Lantern.
Right.
It's like you get one about Chip. Like everybody gets a story, and I'm
That's
like, you see,
cool.
I like. It's everything that the actual Green Lantern movie was lacking in, and that is that well, Hal Jordan's not the be all end all. There's like a dozen really interesting characters inside the Green Lantern.
Jeff Johns might kick in your door and prove you otherwise, my friend.
Darren just said, "Oh, dude, we get an Abin Sur story,
Oh, that's cool.
which is amazing. It's him hunting down Atrocitus before he became the Red Lantern guy.
Nice.
It's him, and it's Sinestro doing like a buddy cop thing
That's
to hunt
really
this guy
cool.
down.
That's a solid
It's great.
idea.
And Abin Sur is like dropping him off on the prison planet. And Atrocitus is like, things are going to change, one day, you'll have no idea when it happens. And then like it ends with like him seeing the red energy and everything. It's like, oh, that's cool. It was like the last mission he ever went on before he died.
That's cool. And I'm guessing that DC was like, duh, more Batman! Because then came Batman Year One, which is after Batman Mask of the Phantasm, I'm like, when are they going to do Year One? And then they did. And Bruce and Bryan Cranston plays Gordon, which is flawless.
Yes, it is.
And somebody else plays Batman, and it's a disaster.
The dude from the OC who now plays Gordon on Gotham, Ben McKenzie. Ben McKenzie.
I've said all I can say about Batman Year One. It's a very faithful adaptation of the comic. It's even got the internal it does have the internal monologues.
Yes, it does.
Which Dark Knight Returns was sorely lacking because the best lines in Dark Knight Returns are the internal monologues.
I'm sure that must be a battle when they do these movies where it's like, why don't we do more internal monologue?
Yeah, and it's like, well, because Frank's the only one who does them. But Ben McKenzie ruins Year One. Like, Ben McKenzie killed Year One. It should be flawless, and it's not.
He drove it out to the woods with a baseball bat, then tied it up naked in a snowstorm.
Because, like, Elijah... Yeah, exactly. And didn't even give him the handicap. Like, Eliza Dushku does a serviceable job as Catwoman. Fine. Like, whatever. She doesn't detract from the picture, so I'm happy. But fuck Year One. Justice League Doom should have been Tower of Babel. It's cool they got everybody to play themselves. It's almost in Justice League animated continuity, except that it's Barry Allen because Jeff Johns. So,
yeah, and also too, you said that All-Star Superman was the last one that McDuffie worked. I'm pretty sure
that's the one. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that this was done with one of his scripts, and I had a horrible feeling watching this for the first time. It's like, oh, he only did one run at the script, didn't he? Yeah. And then he died, and then you didn't want to take another run at it because this was a script that needed another run.
It needed another polishing. There is no reason at all for them to replace Ra's al Ghul with Vandal fucking Savage. And that change almost torpedoes the movie if it weren't for the fact that everyone comes back except for John Stewart Green Lantern as played by Nathan Fillion again, which I like. I thought that was cool, but I was also sad because it's like you get half. Like, it's like those Batman Superman movies where you're like, oh, it's almost everybody. Why won't you just do it? I don't understand. Like, you're just making movies that you want to see now. Make one that will fit in here.
Because animation takes a long time and is expensive and actors are busy, I guess.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, it's animated. They can come in any time.
They can literally phone it in if they want.
Yeah, but one of the first and last Mark Waid comics to be adapted and brought into DC.
Oh wow!
It's a great premise, and it's a fair movie.
It's fine in pieces, but it doesn't quite hold up.
Doesn't quite work. It needed another run.
It's definitely one of the ones where I watched that one once, and I'm like, yeah, that was plenty.
That was the one where I'm like, I gotta buy this. It's probably gonna be fantastic, and I'm like, oh.
It's another one where it's like, oh, you emphasized way more on the fighting part than you did the story part.
Yep, and even then, like, you couldn't even get actors to play characters. Like, they're all faceless bad guys. Meh. Like, really? It sucks. Then came Superman versus the Elite,
which I really like this one.
This is one of my this might be my favorite Superman animated movie.
Yeah, this is like 2 or 3 for me, but I mean this is great, and it got even better after Man of Steel came out,
Oh
because
my
this
God.
is Superman versus the Elite is literally the anti-Man of Steel.
Yeah.
It is the rebuttal to that entire movie.
Yeah, it's a pre-rebuttal. It's a pre-buttal.
Yeah, it came out before. It's the
Exactly.
amazing thing. It came out before, and yet it like again, it's a pre-buttal. You're right.
It's almost like a harbinger. Like, I know they're gonna change everything and make it dark and stupid, but don't let them. It like this is the way it should be, and it's like good for you, Superman.
It is a movie about Superman fighting the changing times and him being like, "No, I do not need to change."
I mean, like there's 2 stories that perfectly sell that. One is this, the other is Kingdom Come.
Yeah.
That scene between Superman and Magog, where he's just like, the world changed, but you wouldn't, and so they made me their leader. Like, it's fucking phenomenal.
It is beautiful, and
And you know
also,
they're gonna make that. You know that's coming.
oh, of course, and you know what I was gonna say too. Manchester Black and the Elite never been cooler than they are in that movie. So much to the point that they actually brought Manchester Black back in the comics right now to be in the crappy Teen Titans run that no one cares about. But hey, he's there now.
Yeah, great.
Him and his purple hair and his British accent.
Exactly. But no, Superman versus the Elite is an undisputed classic. If you own these movies but you don't own this, pick it up and watch it. Even if you thought like, nah, it's kind of hokey, like watch it again.
The opening credits are great in that. It's almost like 75 years of Superman with all like this pop art and everything.
Yeah.
It's great too because like a bunch of they almost do like the Team America thing where when the movie was coming out, a bunch of people were like, oh, that animation doesn't look great.
Yeah.
And then the first thing in the movie is Superman watching a crappy Superman cartoon with even worse animation, and him being like, "Oh, they're giving all the money to charity, so
Yeah, I'm like, fair enough, Superman.
Just so much great stuff in that. And when Superman like unwinds at the end, it's like, oh, so you want a Superman that kills, huh? You want a Superman who doesn't give a shit? Well, I don't give a shit right now, and it's pretty terrifying.
And they're like, and I love it because then Manchester Black's like, you bleeding hypocrite. Like, he is offended that Superman compromised his morals, even though that's all he wants him to do. Like, yes, except the world is not Manchester Black. The world is like, yay! Like the world collectively said, no, Man of Steel's what I want. The world is that kid who lost his dad.
Is that little, I know, that kid is perfect. That kid is such perfect writing. And again, they do one of my favorite Superman bits that I just gave you a laser lobotomy by concentrating my heat vision through your irises.
Solid. Just friggin' solid. I think Grant Morrison wrote that original version.
Oh, what's so funny about Truth, Justice, and the American Way?
Yeah.
I don't think it was Morrison. I think it was someone else.
No, all right.
If it was Morrison, there'd be more trippy shit.
This is true. I thought it was a little too straightforward.
It's a little too straightforward, even though there is some Doctor Who-ery in it, just a little bit.
Yeah. I do also love that they gave George Newbern some love, because that was Tim Daly couldn't be in Justice League and Justice League Unlimited, so they hired George Newbern, and I was at first when the pilot for Justice League, when George Newbern opened his mouth, and I'm like, who the fuck is that?
Yeah, you're not the Superman I grew up with.
Yeah,
hey.
It's everyone else but you. But he grew on me to the point where when Tim Daly came in and replaced him in that Justice League Doom movie, I was like, no,
bring the other guy back.
Yeah, like he's, you know what? He earned it. But it's nice that George Newbern played him, especially in this one. Because George Newbern played a Superman that was in Justice League, the cartoon show, so conflicted and so modern, and so conflicted that it's nice to see him playing an ideal Superman that is not conflict. That's like, this is the way the world is. Like, this is the way the world should be. This is the way I am. I'm not conflicted about who I am and what I'm doing.
It's really nice. Like, there's the bit where he's talking to Lois before. It's like, I saw some kids playing today, and they said it would be fun to be in the Elite because it would be fun to kill. Huh. Fun to kill.
Yep. Ugh.
Such an amazing moment. And I'm like, can someone send this to Zack Snyder? Can Zack Snyder just watch this scene right here?
He wouldn't get it. He would make a gay joke and then fucking throw it away.
And then he'd go and lift some weights is what he would do.
Then Bruce Timm got his wish and made Dark Knight Returns. such that we got 2 parts. We got 2
Yes.
movies. And you
Which
know what?
blew my mind when they said that.
I was like, wow. The cover choices were bizarre because they like did reinterpretations, and it's stupid. Because just do the covers. Just take the comic covers and put them on the DVD. I don't know what the hell's the matter with you.
It's all you have to do.
Yeah, but I really don't like RoboCop as Batman.
Really, I thought that made a lot of sense, actually, for a dystopian future to pick, like, the ultimate dystopian future star to be the voice of Batman.
Yes, he grew on me, but, and I'm a broken record, but, like, Kevin Conroy's old now. And
now would have been the time.
Now's the time for him to play Batman. He played Dark Knight Returns Batman in Batman Beyond.
That's right, he basically did.
That is the character model from that book. That's the voice that he chose. And back then, Kevin Conroy was approximating an old Kevin Conroy. Now he is old.
The only reason they had to get RoboCop is because they couldn't get Clint Eastwood to play him.
There's something about that voice that just doesn't... It isn't what I heard. Everybody else is wonderful, except for Paul Lynde Joker, whoever the hell played him, but like...
That was the guy from Lost. That was Ben from Lost.
Oh no, Batman, I'm coming to get you. That's...
Well,
what the crap was that? Like, what a weird decision.
If they're gonna play up the homoeroticism, which was always there, why not make him something?
It's a lot more subtle than they think it is. Like, I remember when my comic book retailer gave this to me at the tender age of whatever the hell, and he's like, "Get ready to become a man. Read this." I'm like, "What's so different about it?" He's like, "Well, Joker's in love with Batman." He says "darling" one time. There's no overt sexuality between Batman and the Joker. It's very subtle and understated. With Paul Lynde, oh, Batman, I just can't wait. It's like Roger Smith is like, yo, it's a Batman. I slipped your roofie before we fought, so what do you say we go into the tunnel of love here? Like, what the crap is happening in this movie?
Well, I had no idea, Sal had such a good Paul Lynde impression.
It's not, I'm a big fan of Hollywood Squares.
Roger from American Dad. That's what that voice was, in case you were wondering.
Yeah, Roger from American Dad is just literally Paul Lynde.
Literally Paul Lynde.
It's just not even a joke. Also, the only there's very little criticism of this movie besides RoboCop's voice, which I got over pretty quick, and the fight at the end.
Oh, yeah?
A little too much.
Really? So many people love that one so much.
They're like, well, it's gotta be half an hour long. He fights him for 3 pages. And at no point does he pick up 2 steamrollers and then punch with them. We don't... You're making him super. He's not super. The whole point of the fucking movie is that he's a man. And then you lose the line, because like when you lose the internal monologue, you lose the line where Batman thinks it's way past time you learn what it means to be a man as he punches him. You fucking don't get that when you make him superhuman.
They had to live up to the fight that everyone had in their mind is the thing. They had to live up to that one.
They're like, if we gave you what was in the page, you would not like the comic anymore. So we upped the ante. And now it's extreme. Like, no!
What I dug about it is they were sure to stress the importance of Carrie Kelly and Green Arrow in that fight.
Yes.
Which as a lifelong Green Arrow fan, I'm like, yes, thank you for remembering he helped too. People often forget about this when they talk about the great fights.
Like, he is absolutely integral to that fight. Also, and this is just me being a nerd, but like, I always interpreted a different sound effect for the kryptonite napalm explosion on Green Arrow's arrow. I always heard it as like a splintering, like like a crackle, like it exploded in like glass breaking. And in this one, it's like, it's just like mace. It's like, he's like, really? Like, oh, okay. Because in the comic, it's a cloud and there's like a spark. Like, it looks, for me, it sounds like glass breaking and a thing escaping. And this one, it's like, it's like
how amazing for that movie too, where they're like, we're gonna do the Mutants gang and we're gonna do all their dialogue exactly like it is in the comic.
That is tight. That is great.
You have to imagine some producer was like, Billy Berserk, you can't do this.
Yeah. What does shiv mean? I know what it means, but Frank Miller clearly doesn't. You don't shiv? You're a mutant terrorist. You definitely shiv people.
You proud man we Billy Berserk.
Yeah, chicken legs.
Lick a leg, chicken legs, slice and dice.
It's phenomenal. It like, the fact they did that, I'm like, I forgive all the problems. I own them both. I watch them every so often, and Like, trust me, man. Like, no. We also did he lose? Oh, they changed the line when he defeats Two-Face. They changed it, and I'm like, what are you doing? There's a line when he defeats Harvey. Harvey's Batman's like hope, and when he goes crazy and he gets fixed and he's actually Two-Face to the core and he defeats him. Two-Face has a monologue where he talks about how he's like, at least both sides match, have your laugh, take a look, and then Batman says in the comic, he says, I see a reflection, Harvey. That's he says, I close my eyes and I see him, and then it like the Two-Face half like overtakes the other half, which is still in the movie, but then they flash the bat in the comic, and it's like, I'm a monster too. Like, we're both monsters. And in the other one, in the movie, he says something like, like, I'm a monster, and he's like, you and me both, or something like that. And I'm like, get the fuck out of here with your lack of subtlety. Just have him say, I see a reflection. It's the damn book. You kept Joker making Selena Kyle dressed like Wonder Woman. You kept the cotton candy scenes. You kept the milk baby
weird dolls
and the robot doll sentient things. You kept those, but you changed Frank Miller's fucking dialogue that's integral to the plot of the movie and the character of Batman. Why? Like, what are you doing?
You kept all the uncomfortable Frank Miller-iness in there too.
Yeah, I kept all the stuff I didn't get. Like, shut the fuck up. So anyway, then they made all these other movies that I didn't see.
I've seen all of them, so I'll be able to walk you through these.
Superman Unbound. I wanted to see it. I still want to check it out. I haven't caught it yet. I hear it's really solid because I know that story, and I think it's awesome.
No, they change a lot from the story,
Damn
is
it.
the thing. Yet again, they leave out Pa Kent's death.
No! What is wrong with... That's the thing! That's the thing that makes it sad! Like, that's the whole...
They leave that important part out.
No,
Brainiac isn't nearly as cool as, like, the Justice League Brainiac and the Superman Brainiac.
Brainiac's never lived up to Superman animated series Brainiac.
There's this weird eye theory going on where people have, like, really dark purple eyes.
Okay.
There's like some kind of cool fights with Kandor going on in Supergirl, but beyond that one was not one of my favorites. That was another watch it once and never again.
Damn it. I did see Flashpoint Paradox, though.
So good. In many ways, Flashpoint Paradox, I think, was like the end of an era for DC animation.
I saw it as the beginning of the next era of DC animation.
It's arguably both.
It's a good transition. It's dark. It's an interpretation of it's also the end of the pre-crisis or the post-crisis DC universe.
Yet another movie you could argue is better than the story it's actually based on because it distills it all to just the main points.
Exactly. I think it's a solid picture. I think it's cool. If you liked Flashpoint, you're gonna love this movie.
It also starts a trend of a weirdness now where it's like, okay, so the Flash is going to be getting a movie now, but we're going to put Justice League in front of it, though.
Yeah.
Because if we just make it Flash, people might not buy it in the same way they didn't buy Wonder Woman and didn't buy Green Lantern.
Exactly.
So we got to be really stealthy now with our names, even though it's a 100% a freaking Flash story. Yeah.
Well, like Justice League, Aquaman's movie.
Yeah.
Like, they're just doing those.
I think they do a great job cutting to the core of Barry Allen as a character by mentioning the importance of his mother and, like, in that final moment where he's running back through time to stop himself from saving her.
Yeah, spectacular.
And the fact that they restrain themselves and go, okay, well, it was actually Reverse Flash who killed his mom. But, but we're not going to say that here right now because that gets really fucking confusing.
Yeah, I agree.
They literally show the killer and his face is in shadows, and I'm like, good, because it's not important who killed his mother.
Exactly.
All this other stuff
that's dies. Like, it's they reference another movie called JLA Trapped in Time. I never saw it. Nor
that was like some Fisher Price direct to Toys R Us.
We're gonna drop the Fisher Price movies because I know what those are. I just didn't recognize it right off the bat. But fuck that movie. Fuck those kids movies. Justice League War, didn't see it. I was like, no.
Really disappointing. It was their first New 52 one out of the gate.
And what weird decisions with casting. Like, I think Alan Tudyk plays Superman.
Yes, he does.
What? and it began the in continuity DC animated movie universe.
Which they still play fast and loose with. I mean, a lot of my problems with War comes down to the fact that I didn't like the book War was based on. I thought that was really lackluster,
Yeah.
and this is lackluster. Green Lantern and Batman completely sideline the rest of the team like they
easily.
do in the comics because hey, our books still made money even after the reboot.
Yep. Also, they cast Jason O'Mara as Batman, who is terrible.
Who sticks around and continues
Yep.
to be the DC animated Batman like 6 movies in now.
And he's just so fucking bad.
like he's getting better, but he's still nowhere near as good as the other guys.
How many movies do you need to get better? Like no. Like go away. Nobody wants you here. I don't know anybody who's like Jason O'Mara's doing a fucking great job. Like I don't care who I piss off, but Jason O'Mara rules. Like I don't know anybody who says that. That said, I also don't care. I think he sucks. Then they did Assault on Arkham, which I didn't see, but I saw some scenes from because Machinima or whatever, whoever was tossing out scenes, and I'm like,
yeah.
Oh, this looks pretty cool, and it's based in the video games, and they got Kevin Conroy to play Batman.
Again, this one was actually a breath of fresh air because it wasn't based in this new shared continuity. It was based in the Arkham continuity, which is a great continuity, actually.
Yep.
They do some amazing stuff with the Suicide Squad. Again, it's a total fake out. It's Batman, blah, blah, blah. No, it's not. It's all a Suicide Squad.
And they could have gotten away with calling it a Suicide Squad movie.
But they couldn't, though. And
they were afraid. They didn't know.
They actually do a really good job. They borrow a lot of reference from like retro heist films. So there's a lot of like the original Ocean's 11 in there.
That's cool.
And it's like men on a mission movie. It's actually, they do a damn good job. And what's great and what I loved about it is they don't shy away from what scumbags the Suicide Squad are. And it's like, dude, it's called the Suicide Squad for a reason. It's because in the end, we're not all going to be here. And indeed, by the end, it gets to a point where it's like, who's the bigger threat? Who we're fighting or each other?
That's cool.
And again, yet another thing, Deadshot never been better than he has in this movie. They put so much time and effort into Deadshot, no doubt because he's primed for a movie soon.
And he's going to be played by a billion-dollar making actor.
Will Smith. So they go out of their way to make him sympathetic and to make him relatable in a way that Floyd Lawton never actually was in the comics. They stress and just my daughter, man, I'm doing this all for my daughter and everything.
Yeah.
What I really like about it too, again, CCH Pounder back as Amanda Waller.
Oh, great.
She should be. Running the squad, I'm like, okay, you're halfway there.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Kevin Conroy is back as Batman in
right.
the movie because,
it's in the game. It's that works out great.
Tara Strong is Harley Quinn. Troy Baker is the Joker in this because Troy Baker was the Joker at the time.
In the Arkham Origins game. So
because Hamill didn't want to do it anymore, probably because he was busy off doing Star Wars.
Yeah.
But overall, Assault on Arkham, actually pretty good.
I skipped Son of Batman, which I also didn't see, but I have seen scenes from it, so I know that it's got Damian in it. I hated the introduction to Damian. I hated the story that introduced him, and Stuart Allen does a great job of playing the Damian I hate so much. As
a little shit, he does it perfectly.
He really nails it. Morena Baccarin playing Talia al Ghul is flawless casting. Sean Maher is finally brought into the DC Pantheon from Firefly to play Nightwing, which I'm like, oh, that's cool. But you got that Jason O'Mara in there who just sucks it up.
I mean, the movie, here's the thing, you say it's based on that story. This is the point, too, in DC animated movies where they stop doing straight up adaptations.
Yeah,
stop
they're reimaginings or whatever.
They take the name and then they'll put together 100 other things. So, yes, this is the premiere of Damian. Yes, it involves, Kirk Langstrom and the Man-Bat formula. Yeah. But the villain is also Deathstroke, and it's the exact same Deathstroke model from Flashpoint Paradox. Oh, this is also a thing, too. They start recycling animation a lot.
No!
And character models. Yeah, here's the thing. Right up to Flashpoint Paradox, and I have this on good authority, they were having their funding cut repeatedly.
No
and
shit.
that's why in the background of War, you will actually see a bunch of character models from Young Justice. You will see Virgil Hawkins walking around. You will see Apache Chief Ty Longshadow just walking around. And they're like, no, those are cameos, is what those are. I'm like, no.
That's weird.
You're kind of recycling now, guys.
That's the worst. And I can imagine them saying like, "Well, what do you want? Do you want a movie or do you want like or do you want cut corners?" Like, no, I then don't fucking make it. It's not like you're making gold here, fellas. Like,
it's very sad when that started happening.
yeah, that sucks. Then they made the Atlantis movie, which I didn't see.
Probably the worst one they made.
I mean, I heard only glowing recommendations for Throne of Atlantis, but I bet it's. I don't know. I fucking
and like it's not bad just because it's an Aquaman movie. It's bad for like 100 other reasons. It's the fact that they took a really great New 52 story, arguably one of the best ones.
Yeah.
And
Aquaman's like it's the Aquaman story from New 52 of Justice League. Like
yeah, like it's cool to like Aquaman now. They miss the point of that completely. They completely go the other way ideologically. Because if you'll remember, in the lead up to Throne of Atlantis, there was that great scene with Arthur where he's like, well, geez, I don't know, Mare, if I should wear my costume anymore. I mean, it's silly. It's, I don't know. And she gets him out of it going, no, that is your birthright. That is, you are the king, and that is what the king wears. And he's just like, don't do it for them, Aquaman. Do it for you.
Yeah.
And it's a beautiful scene. None of that's in the movie. His costume was armor that more of the armor plates fell off.
Oh my god.
His mother is alive in the movie, even though she's not in the comic.
Bizarre.
Which gives them a chance to basically rip off Thor to where, instead of having Ocean Master being a complicated three-dimensional character like he was in the comics, now he's just underwater Loki.
Oh, good. Well,
and he's underwater Loki, but they fuck with the ending further, because if you remember, Throne of Atlantis had a great twist where it was actually Volko behind everything,
right.
But he had a good reason for doing it. Now Black Manta was behind everything, and he tries to explain what his plan was, then Aquaman has a shark eat him.
Great. Well, that's solid.
Such a missed opportunity, such a wow, and I really feel like the live action movies had an effect on where they're like, no, you can't have an interesting pathos filled Aquaman. We've got we got a movie coming out. You gotta make it. You gotta make it like how we're gonna make it. He's got to be like a tough, take no nonsense barbarian.
Right, exactly. He has to be the Conan character that we're putting in the movie.
Also, too, it's at this point, too, in the movies, like, obviously, one of the cool things about these DC animated movies is because they weren't on TV, they were allowed to push the boundaries. They could be a little sexier, a little bit more violent.
Yeah.
Right around this time, the movies have started to get shameless, in my opinion.
Well, as I understand it, like, there's a sex scene in the Batman Suicide Squad movie.
Yes. Well, that one was okay, but yes, there's like
that one I wanted to see.
Yeah, I mean, I mean that was Harley Quinn with side boob. I wanted all of that.
Right.
But no, I'm talking
so
like
yeah,
did he ever? No, I'm talking like in Son of Batman, like Talia al Ghul unloads on a bunch of ninjas with a shotgun, and they get like blown to pieces, and it's incredibly bloody. And I'm like, wow, that was needlessly over the top.
See, that's the thing that I've noticed about a lot of the most current run of DC animated movies is the like, I don't care who I piss off, but there's no censors here, no Fox notes for us, blah blah blah. And I'm like,
it's like, yeah,
working in. George Lucas has proven that when you work with no restraint, it's not always gold.
It's true, and let us not remember that these are the guys who once upon a time couldn't even show, Dick Grayson, Robin's family falling to their death,
right.
And because of it, they had to get more creative with it, and made a truly beautiful, touching scene because of it, because, the restrictions actually made them do something more interesting. Right, now they're just like, we can do whatever we want.
Oh, yeah, no, like, it's like the story of Jaws when Spielberg's like, the shark looks like shit. Let's just be more artistic and not show the shark. And then people being like, oh, it's a triumph because of how artistic it is. And it's like, no, it's just we didn't want to show how cheap we were. And it's like, look, but art came from your restrictions.
Absolutely.
Like the Wampa in fucking Empire, where it's like, well, the monster looks like shit, so we just won't show him, but we'll show parts of him, so it's scary. Like, yeah, it works that way.
And in Throne of Atlantis, like a bunch of like Atlantean mooks get like hit with water crystals from Mira, and they get like all impaled and they bleed all over the place and everything, which is funny because the guy who directed that one also directed like a bunch of Avatar: The Last Airbender and
and
Mira is basically just doing water bending. And it's the stuff you've always wanted to see in waterbending where it's like, I could make this into an ice crystal and then I could like jab that into your jugular and you would die.
Yeah.
And that's basically what they did.
Yeah, Azula would be fucking dead. Like,
yeah, freaking dead, man. Now there's an episode right there, the Avatar series.
Yeah, the Avatar series, man. I loved 3 seasons out of that show.
Oh, so you're not a Korra fan? I am a major Korra apologist, so we may need to turn this into a debate.
Yeah, because I really don't like Korra. Yeah.
I interviewed Janet Varney on an old interview that's lost now. I was the first person she talked to when the show came back.
Nice. I've seen her at conventions, and each time I think, oh, we should talk to her. And then I thought, no, I hate Korra. There's nothing I want to talk to her about.
She is a lovely woman, but you would probably have a hard time, because here's the thing. Her Korra voice is just her talking normal.
It's just her talking. Yeah, I know. No. Then they made Batman vs. Robin, which I also didn't see, but I heard, once again, they're like, oh, Court of Owls is popular, we'll steal from that, we'll steal from this,
again, this is the point where it's like, we really want to make another Batman movie, but we don't know which one we want to do.
We'll make 1,000. How about Long Halloween? How about The Cult? How about, hell, fuck it, pay some money and get Batman vs. Predator.
So you've got the beginning of the movie, which is like, hey, we'll do Detective Comics with Weird Al Yankovic's Dollmaker, because Dollmaker apparently showed up in everything last year.
Oh, great. Oh, yeah, that's right. Fuck that.
He showed up in everything.
I like Weird Al, so I'm happy to see him get work, but, like, whatever.
It's like, and then we'll have Damien in the story, and then we'll do the Batman and Robin Nemesis story with like another guy trying to turn Robin against Batman. Only it'll be a Talon from the Court of Owls, but it won't be any of the Talons you actually know. We'll invent a brand new Talon for this, and we'll completely mangle the Court of Owls storyline by doing a cheap, bastardized version of the story.
Everyone, there's no one out there that doesn't say that Court of Owls is probably one of the most successful New 52 books.
Yes it is.
Just do that.
They really should have. And instead they're like, okay, we'll do a bunch of different Batman stories. In doing so, making sure we please absolutely nobody.
Right, exactly. Then they made that neat, crazy idea of Justice League Gods and Monsters, which I've only seen. I saw I saw a Harley bit. I saw Superman versus Brainiac. I own it. It was actually gifted to me by SUNY Purchase. They gave me the whole damn Blu-ray.
Oh, nice.
And I look forward to watching it, but and it's Bruce Timm back, because Bruce Timm left after Dark Knight Returns, and it's just Bruce Timm being like, I want to do this crazy shit that no one would ever let me do. And it's like, that sounds cool, I'd watch that, and eventually I will. It's
better. It's definitely the best one of the last couple, because it's free from the New 52 continuity. They can do whatever the hell they want to. Benjamin Bratt is actually really fun as that world Superman, who wasn't raised in Kansas. He was raised by migrant workers.
Okay.
And so he has a completely different view of truth, justice, and the American way.
So he's an alien who was raised by aliens.
Yes,
That's amazing.
They're taking Superman as like the ultimate immigrant story to the next level, and they're applying it today.
That's awesome.
And he's like, you know what? Growing up, truth and justice never seemed to be there for my people when I wanted it. So you know what? Fuck the rest of you.
Yeah. We forgot to mention, and I think it just bears a quick tertiary note. The animation after Bruce Timm left significantly shifted.
Big necks, big meaty necks.
Everyone has these huge necks and tiny heads, and everyone looks like they're roided out morons.
Everyone looks like Brock Lesnar.
Yeah, and what the crap? But it's funny because God's Monsters, we're back, Bruce. Thank you for making everybody a triangle again.
Yes.
I'll take the triangles over these big hulked out monsters.
I was such a DC animated fan growing up. I would always draw my bodies as triangles without even knowing it. And like parents and teachers would say, well, why is that kid always drawing triangles? And I'm like, because that's how Bruce Timm taught me how to draw.
If you we do need to do like a Marvel animation episode, because like, if you've ever looked it up, you should find it, because like there's an Imgur gallery somewhere, but I'm sure that's everywhere. But like, Bruce Timm doesn't just draw DC stuff. He's drawn and painted Marvel stuff.
Those are great.
And it is like, why aren't you doing this?
His
now?
Phoenix and his Mystique and all the other
stuff.
Well,
all of his women are gorgeous and shit. But like,
dude loves that pinup style so much to the point.
That pinup style.
So much to the point that he did a porn book called Bruce Timm's Naughty or Nice, which is just like, I'm gonna draw a bunch of naked ladies.
Yep, I'm gonna draw Harley Quinn having sex with Poison Ivy. There's nothing you can do about it. And it's like, yeah, who would want to stop you?
You can't. It's like, you can't stop me. And it's like, no one's trying to stop you.
Yeah, exactly. Hold me back. Like, hold me back. No. I don't understand why that hasn't become a thing. I remember when they were talking about doing the Ultimate Spider-Man cartoon, when they were developing it. And they were like, and Jeff Loeb was like, what do you want? He like went out to the universe and was like, hey people, what do you want? We were like, we want Paul Dini involved. We want like so-and-so involved. We want this. And they were like, okay. And it was shit.
Yeah, which is hard to believe, where it's like, hey, you actually did have Paul Dini involved with this, and it's not very good. And you also had Man of Action involved, and also not good.
And it's like, no, I just want Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes. Like, I just want that.
I just want Spectacular Spider-Man to continue. Well, you can't have it.
You can't have that. And that's just
not only can you can't have it, but we're replacing Josh Keaton with Drake Bell in this one episode.
Like, Josh Keaton is so much better.
Yes, he is.
Drake Bell can't even say spider. He's a spider. It's weird. Anyway.
Josh Keaton, yet another guy in my Skype list right now, because I interviewed him not too long ago.
He is cool.
He's another wonderful man. Apparently a fan talked to him at a con on behalf of me and said, oh yeah, he'd be willing to talk to you again, Joe. I'm like, well, thank you for delivering the message for me.
Right, well, okay, we'll do it. And with that, with Gods and Monsters, cool idea. I'm excited to watch it, and as I understand
it's pretty good.
And hopefully we'll usher in more Bruce Timm DC stuff.
Well, the next two that are coming down the pipeline, the absolute next one is Batman Bad Blood. We got the trailer for that one at New York Comic Con. It is yet another Jason O'Mara continuation of that story. This time around, they're doing parts of Battle for the Cowl, because Batman is gone now, and Dick Grayson has took up the costume, so we're also doing Grant Morrison's Batman and Robin, because it's those two characters together. We're also getting Batwoman Kathy Kane making her first appearance.
Yes, I saw that, and that's cool.
But also Luke Fox Batwing is also making his first appearance here, too.
I mean, like, so these are cool characters, and it's a good idea.
Because we're trying to build up the Bat family, even if we got to rush to do it, we're going to do it. Yeah. But here's the thing, you know who the villain is for that movie?
No.
Try and guess. I bet you'll never guess.
Is it a Batman villain?
Yes.
I'm going to guess it's Scarface.
I wish, man. I have a soft spot for Scar. No, it's the Heretic. But the Heretic is the villain. This is a huge but here. He's dressed as punk rock Batman, not Middle Eastern Batman, because they're like, yeah, maybe having an evil Damien clone dressed in Middle Eastern garb would send the wrong message. Maybe we shouldn't.
Yeah, I guess that's fair.
So now he's just dressed as punk rock Batman, which is admittedly a cool costume anyway.
It is. Yeah, it's cool.
He's got a sleeveless trench coat, so you know he's serious.
Oh shit! My sleeves fell off from my awesome.
And his bat mask has like a hockey mask thing on it almost, so he's kind of like Jason.
That's kind of cool. All right, I'd like to see that drawing. And of course, Killing Joke.
That's going to be the next one. Yes, Hamill's back for it. They're saying they're not sure if Conroy's going to come back. I'm like, you're sure he's going to come back.
What's the fucking point?
If you're not going to get him, then what is the point?
If you get Hamill and you don't bring Kevin Conroy, I will make videos on our channel advising our fans to assault DC's like internet, like their inboxes with what the fucks.
Because you failed if you didn't do that.
You failed. And I get that, like, you know, Kevin Conroy's kind of got you over a barrel, but how much can he ask for at this point, really?
Realistically, and how much will you be willing to make off the back of this?
It's undisputedly a good idea.
It's a confirmed hit already.
Yes.
And the fact that they're like, yes, this one, we can have the rating be as dark as we want it to be. We're not being hamstrung by anything.
But don't be stupid about it. Just make it the goddamn comic.
See, I worry about DC animation now. If they made this 5 years ago, I'd be like, oh, awesome. But now I'm like, ooh, you've been making some bad decisions lately. Yeah.
Get a damn good adapter and make it cool. And don't try to just draw Brian Boland style. Do it well. Make and deliberate with good cinematography like you used to. You remember what you used to do, right? I know that I do, and I didn't even make the damn thing.
Well, hey, you know what they could always do? They could always reach out to the original writer. Maybe he'd like to take a part in this.
No way! The Wizard of Northamptonshire.
He will come out from his cave.
He wrote that he wrote Killing Joke to fulfill contract obligations.
I know.
He didn't even give a shit. And he was like, oh, I wrote this transcendental perfect Joker story. Here you go. Like, oops. You know, as opposed to...
Just fell out of me, you know.
Oh, this is what happens. sometimes you get what happened to the world, to the Man of Tomorrow, and some, oh my god. But yeah, I no, they're not even gonna bother.
No, of course not.
But they should, because it'd be hilarious.
And
because,
if word ever reached him down in his magic cave.
Yeah, well, he comes out of that magic cave to do podcasts and stuff, which I'm like, someone has to have his email address, right?
What podcast does he do?
If you YouTube it, like, he does these random podcasts that nobody fucking listens to, which is why he might be perfect for our show, because nobody fucking watches it. But
be like, look, Mr. Moore, I assure you, if you come on our show, no one will hear it.
Yeah. I promise, and I'm not going to ask you what you're going to do next. I just want to talk to you just be a conversation. So, Alan, what's going on? Well, I got some Fruit Loops that I'll put down to my cave, but because it's always cold.
Like, that's the thing. Don't even ask him about comics. Just like, what did you do today, Mr. Moore?
Yeah, and what do you think? Like, what's going on? Like, I would just ask about YouTube and stuff. Be like, well, I really like PewDiePie, but...
Yeah, really? He's a secret PewDiePie.
Because I don't think it's much of a secret. Like, I think he's a huge hypocrite who's like, I'm a recluse, but I absolutely have broadband internet connection, and I'm perfectly aware of what's going on. It's like, because he said, like...
BuzzFeed Yellow videos are the best. I like their challenges.
Because he was like, I'm never going to see that V for Vendetta movie, but I'll read the screenplay. You read the screenplay? I thought you said you didn't give a shit.
You might as well see it at that point.
He's like the guy who's like, I don't care if she dumped me, I'm just gonna go check her Facebook profile every 10 minutes.
Every 10 minutes.
Like, Jesus, dude. There's a dude that I used to be friends with who, he had a really, really messy breakup with a mutual friend back in the day. And one of our mutual friends was getting married. And we still hung out with him, but we weren't hanging out with her. And she's like, hey, I want to invite your ex-girlfriend, because she was my friend when when me and my husband or future husband met. Is that going to be a problem? And not like, are you going to start some shit? Just like, would that be a problem? I think she
would
said
that make you feel bad?
Yeah, like and he goes, and his reaction was, problem? Why would they be a problem? I can't imagine why they were a problem. And she was like, okay, so it would be a problem.
So because the way you're acting makes me think.
Right. So because he just went full 110% no, it's totally cool, and it was like, so it's not cool. Okay, cool. That's Alan Moore. Like, I hate the comic book industry, and that's why I'm subscribed to Comic Book Resources. Except he probably reads Newsarama.
Gotta get the news from somewhere.
Exactly. But, like, he doesn't, like, what do you care? You don't even make comics anymore. And I know, and, like, before you freak out, like, yes, he does make comics, but not anyone that people read. So anyway, Killing Joke is up next, and I know they're doing a lot of other things, like they've announced or they've teased at things like the Judas Contract or JLA versus Titans.
That's the thing, which makes me go, oh, it's going to be New 52 connected, so you're going to do the New 52 version of the Teen Titans? Maybe just don't do it at all.
Yeah, but they're not going to, like, but they might not, and until it's, like, on the fucking docket. Like Bad Blood, there's a trailer. With other movies, like I don't count on a movie from DC or Guillermo del Toro until I see a trailer.
They've been pretty good about making everything they say is coming out for animation come out. I think that's actually pretty well regulated.
Unless it's a Titans movie.
Unless it's a Titans movie, in which case, we have better things to do.
Yeah, but I'm hopeful that the Killing Joke thing. I mean, like. Mark Hamill tweeted about it, like, and not that he had tweeted about it that he wanted to, but he had already. I remember reading a tweet that he said he laid down voice work for it.
I mean, it's like, again, if you're not going to get Hamill, what's even the point of doing it?
Well, and he said out loud, like, years ago, when I retire, I will
This is the
back.
only thing that'll make me come back.
Yeah, and it's like, good. That makes sense. You and Conroy come back.
Which is funny, because he had only been retired for a little bit. Like, wasn't it like a couple weeks after Arkham Knight came out? He's like, yep, I'm done now. That was my last bit. Oh, yeah. Killing Joke movies.
Oh, but I'll still do that. By the way, Arkham City was the last one he did, and you know what? Solid.
Yeah.
Solid fucking story. But yeah, so DC Animation... rises and falls. I think that every so often they get it right. They used to get it more right than they do now. I think that's
they're definitely on a slump right now. I think streamlining it and making like no all 52 now, or at least every other one new 52. what's a bad idea. I liked the freshness and the newness of, like every time you're going to get new actors and a new art style and new everything. I think streamlining has really hurt it. And
Yes.
I'm sure someone had the idea where it's like, well, animation is one of the few things we do consistently right. We should build a universe out of it
Right.
instead of doing another show. We could be just like the Marvel guys. We'll even have post-credit stingers at the end.
Yeah, but nobody gives a shit. But your DC animated direct-to-DVD features don't make billions of dollars in the Chinese market. Like, it's not the same thing. You can't just do what other people are doing and be like, oh, that's how it works. Like, except copying the renaissance of DC animation, which we need to do at some point. We need to do the Marvel animation and what they've done, what they're doing wrong, and how they can fix it. Because I think between the two of us, if Disney was like, you two need to do, we would revolutionize Marvel animation.
Well, I think it's obvious what they're doing wrong, and that is well, I mean, can you even say it's wrong when they're making money over fist ad? They're appealing too much to young children, and I'm sure their reasoning behind that is, hey, our movies make money off everybody. We can appeal, we can afford to appeal to young children.
Right. I mean, like, that's fair, but that doesn't mean you can't make everything. You have the funds, you have the resources, and you have the audience that's willing to get it. So do it. Because, like, and we've seen it. I would actually, I would never have believed it if I didn't have shows like Spectacular Spider-Man, Avengers vs. Mightiest Heroes, and the Hulk versus movies.
Yeah.
Those two flicks are fucking great. And I don't mean like they're transcendental, but like they're well choreographed, like they're good, they're well shot, perfect voice actors, really solid animation, which is rare for a Marvel movie. And odd choices. They were bold decisions. Back before Thor was really cool and interesting and hot, they had Hulk versus Thor, and it's fucking cool.
Also, I mean, we could do the whole thing about where it's like, hey, Marvel, what's with the whole outsourcing your animated movie properties to like anime houses to make like weird anime hybrids?
What a weird decision. But I think that with the return of Bruce Timm and the success, I think it's successful. I think the people really dug it, and I think commercially it did well. Justice League Gods and Monsters, I think we have the potential for
an upswing.
For a nice blend. And like, you could still do adaptations, but I want to see more stuff like this, like either original ideas or original takes on,
yes, please,
on classic stuff. Like,
if I wanted the New 52, I would just go read the New 52,
and
I'm sure
better. Like, if I want to read if I'm gonna read New 52, like, it's drawn by Jim Lee. You ain't gonna fucking do better than that. Like,
I mean, I'm sure their reasoning was like, look, we're making new comics right now. We got animation. We should make movies to get people interested in the comics. Where it's like, yeah, but animation moves so slow and comics move so fast that by the time you're done one animated movie, we're already on to the next arc and the next thing.
Exactly. And you know what's funny? DC doesn't even remember what they used to do. When you bought at least this was the VHS. With the VHS of Batman Mask of the Phantasm, you know what came with? A mini comic of Batman Mask of the Phantasm. Where is a mini comic of the first issue of Justice League, origin for Justice League War? Where is the Throne of Atlantis issue? If you are one studio,
actually, I think they've started doing that now. Actually,
really? Oh, well,
but I think it's like a special item you have to go buy. You buy the trade, and then you get the movie along with it. It's not the other way around.
No, but it should be the other way around, because the movies are bringing people into the comics, not the other way around. No one's reading anyone who's reading the comics is also watching the movie. That's that
reeked up to me. That's, we got to get rid of these damn movies no one liked. Let's try and package them with the comics people did enjoy.
I mean, like, it's a solid business strategy. I mean, I would take a free movie, because, like, whatever. But yeah, there you go. DC animation, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, we kind of just went through the movies. We didn't really talk too much about the shows. I think we kind of segued.
I assumed we were going to talk about the shows. I had the whole list of shows in front of me, and I'm like, oh, we're doing direct-to-DVD movies? Okay, this is fine, too.
Maybe we should do a part 2 where it's just shows, and we'll skip Batman the Animated Series because we've done that to death. I think that's solid.
That's fair. I'm fine with that.
Because we could also just talk about Justice League Unlimited for like an hour.
True. We honestly could.
The show is so good.
Yes, it is.
And it ends, and it's. I love how every season for Justice League, it ended with them going, we didn't like we don't think we're coming back.
They wrote every season finale like it was going to be their last because they thought it would be. And like, hey, there's a lesson for all you writers out there. Write everything like it might be your last because it could be.
Which, by the way, is another great instrument or a great tool to like go, hey, we're gonna do this, and we're working in a box. Like we have to write our way out of it. And it was great because they're like, it's over. I'm still gonna do my last Batman Beyond episode.
Which is why it's called Epilogue.
I fucking watched that. I'm like, I think the show's canceled. You ended it with a Batman Beyond episode? What balls? Such testicles on you. People are watching this show like, where's Booster Gold? And you ended it with a show that ended 10 years ago. How fucking amazing is that?
Look, we really wanted to make another Batman Beyond movie, but they wouldn't let us. So here's everything that Bruce Timm had sitting on his desk that we crammed into one last episode.
We just pushed his whole desk into a box and then sent the box to the fucking animators team. Just like do it. Just no, I want to bring back Andrea Beaumont. She's a fucking gun for hire as the Phantasm. And no, and the Grey Ghost is a movie series that Terry watches when he's a kid, and Amanda's in charge of the Batman Beyond. Like, oh my god, this is 22 minutes, right? Like you can't possibly. And Terry gets married, and Batman's his dad, and fucking like, oh my god, you're dropping bombs here, like fuck, like just
blew it all up right at the end there, where it's like there's so much I want to tell you, and I only have 22 minutes to do it. Go.
Yeah, it's like an old friend from high school or college like coming to visit and being like, I gotta go, I gotta take a piss, but really quick, here's everything that's been happening over the last 10 years. Bye. Like, no, there's more. You could have gone into detail. Oh. But yeah. Also, just because it's a live show, I'll answer a quick question. A Mighty Adam asks, like, what's this about Punisher? They're doing a new Punisher book.
Oh, has that officially been announced right now? I've been off Twitter.
Yeah, there's a new Punisher book. It's being written by what's her name? I can't remember her name.
Oh, it's a she writing it.
Yeah, she wrote some Punisher before, and it's drawn by Steve Dillon. So I'm not interested.
Ooh, oh, I like Steve Dillon. I liked him when he did
Steve Dillon when it's Garth Ennis writing it.
That's fair. That's fair. Like I remember when they did like I think Steve Dillon wrote like drew like the first couple issues of that horrible Thunderbolt series from Marvel Now, and he tricked me into liking the first little bit. Like, yeah, this is great.
Oh my god, yes, that Thunderbolt series, like with Punisher and Elektra and everybody, that's friggin' tight and cool, and I really dug it. But no, but it didn't last. It was not to be. Let me see who drew that. Let me see who wrote that fucking book. It's Becky Cloonan.
Becky Cloonan, huh? I've heard of her.
Yeah. I've read her stuff. She's good. She's a good writer. So I would be excited if it weren't for the fact that it was Steve Dillon drawing it.
Now, does he have a new costume or anything, or what's the deal? Has there been art for it?
I think the way that they're saying it is, how do they describe it? They didn't really, because it looks like it's Frank, but like as I understand it, it's like a criminal trying to kill Jason Voorhees.
Huh. Which is kind of like what Greg Rucka was doing with his run, where it's like, well, we'll have a Punisher book, but he'll be more like the boogeyman in the background, and we'll follow these two cops who are clearly just the two cops from Seven.
Right. Which is cool. That's a solid thing. I'd like that. But it's also a ripoff of the Sam and Twitch book. When Sam and Twitch Spawn had these two detectives, and then Bendis like actually cut his teeth a little bit on writing a Sam and Twitch series where it's just about the two detectives and like dealing with the aftermath of Spawn's bullshit.
Oh, and also the guy he's dealing with here will have some connection to his military background, because of course he will, because they always do.
Because why not?
That's how I would write it, if you gave me the book. I have a great pitch that I'll say right here, because I'll probably never get a chance to do it. but my ideal Punisher story is he fights like a Vietnamese supervillain. Like he fights the Vietnamese version of the Punisher. Okay. Is what it is, and like he leaves all these cryptic messages to him in Vietnamese, and it's like you know, we're both warriors, Frank. You know, we're both fighters and everything. You know, come back to the jungle, come back to Vietnam, and we can have war forever, you and me, because this is our way. We don't belong in the outside world. We don't belong with regular people. This is the only place where stuff makes sense. That's
tight. I would write my Punisher. We all have Punisher pitches. My Punisher pitch would be, give me. I would call Marvel editorial and go, what villains can I kill?
Am I allowed to kill just dead?
Like, give me a list, and you can bring them back, but I want a list of all the villains I can kill from the deepest, darkest reaches of the toy box.
You can kill Whirlwind, and you can kill...
Right, like, and that'd be cool. And then basically it's just called, like, Punisher the List, and it's just Punisher being like, here's every bad guy on the list, and I make a list that has every villain, and he just starts from the bottom and works his way up. And and of course, he's gonna get canceled before the fucking top of the list, so you just have him kill kill Whirlwind and have it be a really bitch of a fight, because it's a dude in Kevlar fighting a fucking guy in an armor suit
who can create tornadoes.
Like, how do you fix that? Unless you're Garth Ennis, and then it's like, oh, well, he fucking just uses magic, because plot convenience, and I want Punisher to kill everybody. But like,
heck, I don't know if you read the new Ant-Man from this week, but Ant-Man fought Whirlwind this week, and Whirlwind almost killed Ant-Man.
Yeah, exactly. Like, that's cool. I like that a lot. But yeah, my Punisher pitch is just Frank Castle the List, or Punisher the List, and it's just Frank being like, you know what, it's time to clean house.
Give me all the... Hey, you got a new power broker? Can I go kill the old power broker?
Because you could do, like, I'm going to kill the Tinkerer. Like, you could do 6-issue story arcs for one villain. So you could have, like, a 100-issue run and only kill 3 guys.
But if he kills the Tinkerer, how are all of Spider-Man's villains going to get their gear and
everything? There's other Tinkerers, or whatever. Who cares? Like, let Dan Slott sort it out.
Let him figure it out. Actually, I caught a lot of thing from the new Spider-Man, the second issue, because there's a flashback to a story I didn't read.
Oh, Ends of the Earth?
Ends of the Earth, and I was even talking to Armin because we co-op that review, and I'm like, did we read this? I forget. This feels like he's referencing something he did.
It was a solid story. It wasn't
only to get 100 messages. Yes, Joel, it's Ends of the Earth. Yes, Joel, it's Ends of the Earth. So I guess before next week, I gotta go read Ends of the Earth.
It's a fun read. It's a solid story. It's not as good as Spider Island. It's bigger, and it's like the apex of Dan Slott's, like, the infatuation with Spider-Man. Like, okay, I've pushed Peter Parker as OP as I can get him. Here's where we are.
Right.
Which is right when, and then he kills him. Like, so yeah, like, Spider-Man saves the world and then dies. Like, that's, you know, but that's Dan Slott for you. So
I guess I'll have to go back and read it now because he's referencing it again.
You only need to know that Silver Sable died.
Okay, and I gleaned that from the flashback.
That's it. Yeah, you don't really need it because there's not going to be a lot of fallout from it. Just like Spider-Man impressed the Avengers again, and I'm sure they'll forget again.
Because it's 8 months later.
Yeah, exactly. But I think we got to wrap it up because it's been 2 hours, which is 1 hour longer than I expected.
I know, right? We always do this.
Yeah, that's right. But hey, everybody, thank you guys so much for watching this episode of the Elseworlds Exchange, where we talk about DC animation. Hopefully we'll do a part 2 where we talk about TV shows. This one was just direct-to-DVD adaptations and movies. They were pretty solid. You know, ups and downs, peaks and valleys, and, you know, and hope for the future, I think.
Yeah, I think so, too. I mean, I'm feeling more hopeful about it now, but I'll feel more hopeful when Batman Bad Blood comes out and is done, because I feel like that one's going to be another...
Well, it'll be just like the last 2.
Yeah, it feels... Because the other ones were, like, very mediocre, and I think this one will continue to be mediocre.
Yes, it will continue the noble tradition of thorough mediocrity.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so we'll see you guys next time. But, hey, before you go, don't forget to subscribe to Cape Joel and give him some love. It's in the description box below this video itself. And
thank you.
If you want to make Comic Pop get a little bigger and get a little better, you can always stop by our Patreon, patreon.com/ComicPop. It's also in the description box down below. And we'll see you guys next week with an all-new, exciting episode of the Elseworlds Exchange, where we talk about another topic. That's the show. Joel and I grab a geek topic and then just hammer it to death. So,
it's true.
We'll see you guys next time. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm Sal. That's Joel. That's
Bye-bye.
Joel right there. Goodbye.